Round two.
Yeah, buddy.
Going down now. Thanks for coming up on short notice.
It's too easy.
Yeah, I mean, you're just a retired military guy, so what else do you have to do, right? And you told me when we were texting last night, you said this has been, next week will be a year to the date since you came out, huh?
Yeah, so we're recording this on the 22nd, right? Wednesday the 22nd. So Wednesday the 29th will be exactly 1 year.
God, it feels like it was 3 months ago.
Yeah. Well, we recorded in January. So I was like 3 months retired or 2 months retired at the time.
Okay.
I went down to Utah, met up with Mike and Greg. And that's when Greg was like, Lappin was like, hey, you need to meet my boy Anderson.
Oh, so we recorded in January.
Correct.
But we connected in...
Right before that.
Before that. Okay.
Yeah, like a week before that. So, I mean, everything for you and I met in January, recorded in January. I mean, we knew each other for 10 minutes when we recorded episode 1.
And it was like, I think we just became best friends.
Yeah, for
Dude,
sure.
do you remember last time too, we hit 2 or 3 hours, right? And then we stopped recording and we sat here for another like hour or two.
Yeah.
Just bullshitting. And I was like, dude, we should have just kept that going.
Yeah.
That could have been part 2.
They could have been.
You know? But yeah, so I don't remember what episode it was. I'll put it in the show notes below. I'll link it. So if people want to go back, if they don't know your story, where you came from, what you're about, but just give like the Cliff Notes version of it and what brought you here, bro.
Well, shoot. I mean, background, it depends on how far back we go, right? Athlete going through high school. Football took me to college, University of Idaho. Lackluster football career, nothing to brag about there, but great experience, Division I football, and, you know, moved on from there, moved home. I dropped out of college. I didn't finish. Just knucklehead stuff, problems with drugs, alcohol, lost focus in my education, didn't care anymore. So I dropped out my senior year.
Which is very normal for guys like us.
Yeah, par for the course. Yep. So moved back home, was working in a mechanic shop, decided to leave that, went up to Alaska for a little while, worked in the oil fields. And while I was in the oil fields, making good money, but just not happy. And I'd always wanted to join the military. So I was like, dude, if I'm going to do it, now's the time. So I went down to Anchorage and enlisted in the Navy. Chose the Navy because, of course, everyone wants to be a Navy SEAL.
Yep.
Learned very quickly that's not what I wanted to do because I was introduced to Navy EOD, Explosive Ordnance Disposal.
Was that once you were already in?
So I was in the delayed entry program when I learned about EOD.
Okay.
So I had gone in under the pretense that I wanted to be a frog. Was kind of walking down that path. And then I moved from Alaska back to Washington to be close to my family. It's where I grew up. So like Paulsbo, well, not very far from where we are now.
Yep. Viking town.
Yeah, dude. Well, that was my mascot in high school. We were the Vikings. So moved back home there just to be close to my family before I actually joined and left for boot camp and did all that. And while I was there, the recruiting station that picked me up, so joined the delayed entry program in Anchorage. They transferred me to a little recruiting station over near Paulsbo. And then while I was there kind of waiting and figuring things out, I was running PSTs and kind of earning my way to the contract. They introduced me to a guy named Ben Umayim. And Ben's a stud. He recently retired like about 2-3 years ago now. But he was my mentor through my entire career. And he, at the time, was doing a recruiter billet. He was like, hey, dude, why don't we talk about everything the Navy has to offer, not just the SEAL program? And I was like, sure. So we had a couple beers, had a burger. And by the end of that, I was like, no, what's this EOD thing? Like, this sounds pretty fucking cool. And he started laughing. He's like, well, I'm, senior chief. So E8, senior chief, master explosive ordnance disposal technician. So I know exactly what it's about. I've been doing this for a long time. Explained it all to me. And I was like, yeah, that's me. Next day I had a contract.
Okay.
Yeah. So then 11 years later, 11 years, 2 months, like 24 days, I was out. So I did that for a while.
And I remember last episode we went in depth about your career, getting attacked by a shark.
How I earned the name Shark Bait.
Yeah. But then, like you said a minute or two ago, you had just separated from the military.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was still optimistic at that point.
Well, no, I remember you were like, man, like, I'm excited. What's next? And you were thinking about the gym and kind of some different ideas.
Yeah.
And when we were texting the other day, you're like, bro, it's been a fucking roller coaster since retiring.
Yeah.
It's just that phase of leaving behind something that was a big part of your identity. Sounds like that's been kind of a rough ride, huh?
It has, but it's been a blessing.
Yeah.
And anything in life is how you look at it, right? And this has been an absolute nightmare. Like you take it from like a bird's perspective, like a 3,000-foot view or whatever people say. And it sucked. My forward movement in life has gone almost nowhere. You could argue it's gone backwards. But the things I've learned and the things I've had, like the new skills I've had to adapt and figure out and that I now possess, astronomical.
Yeah.
Right. So
let's just jump. Let's dive right into that journey. I'm sure we can circle back to Navy stuff or whatever.
Sure.
But I think that the reason that as soon as you text me that, you're like, I forget the exact verbiage, but you're like a nightmare or a roller coaster or whatever, right? I was like, dude, let's sit down and talk about that because that is one of the things that really negatively impacts men making that transition. Because I know, bro, like when you're part of something that feels like it's bigger than yourself, you feel like you got your brothers with you, you feel like you got people that you can count on, or just people that fucking get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell fucking crude jokes and all your bros are down with it. And then you transition out into the real world and you're like, what is this?
Yeah.
And
they look
so,
at you like a gorilla. Like, put that fucker back in the zoo, dude.
Yeah. And I know that's, I mean, I got that Zippo right there was given to me by one of my teammates' sisters after he killed himself because that same story plays out over and over and over where you get out, you're now feeling those emotions of like, oh, I don't have my brotherhood. Oh, I don't have purpose. Oh, I don't have mission. And that can take you one or two directions. It can take you down that spiral of depression. And I'm not saying it's one or the other. Actually, I experienced both. There was times of like depression and not feeling like I had a mission. And then there's other times when it's like, well, fuck it. What's next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those two paths take you a complete opposite direction in life, but it's hard to commit to one or the other.
It is.
Because you get pulled both directions.
You do. And then it gets exhausting. And then the forward movement doesn't happen as fast because you're being held back. You're like dragging an anchor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it gets very, very difficult. And sometimes you succumb to the depression and you have to kick yourself out of it. And then other times you're like full steam ahead and nothing happens. And then it leads right back into the depression or the hard point, right?
Well, dude, I've noticed that. And not just during the transition, but even just overall in life, even at blocks of time recently where it's like, dude, I'm showing up, I'm putting in the work, I'm writing my book, I'm doing what I need to do for the gym, I'm diligent in my podcast, and it's like everything keeps getting worse, not getting better.
Right.
And I think that's just a season of growth.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so it's, but it's hard to see outside of the storm when you're in it.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
it's a logical fallacy that when you put in the hard work that something is repaid to you right away.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. I mean, you know it with jujitsu, you know it with all your other endeavor. Like, literally, the name of this podcast is Endless Endeavor.
Yeah.
Right? But in the moment, we're like, "What the fuck? Pay me!" Right?
Yeah. and I mean, you'll probably it'll be fun to go down this rabbit hole too, like spiritually, right?
Oh, I can't even wait to go
because
down
it's like, dude, I'm trying to live with these tenets of like truth and trust and love. I'm partaking in prayer. I'm putting energy towards like good, trying to do the right thing. And then life still just smacks you down. You're like, God, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah.
What is this?
And this one, I was really hoping we'd touch. No matter what, I'm going to bring faith into it because it's been a huge, huge part of my life, especially in the last year. But one of my best friends, his name's Brandon. He put this very clearly, and it's stuck in my, like, rings in my head almost every day. And, you know, I had these moments of like really, really bad hardships, and they led me towards God.
And this is post-military or during?
Towards the end. So 2019, I got out in 2024. 2019, I hit rock bottom. Planned my own suicide, was like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I was in a foreign country, took my service weapon home, planned it all out, never did it. But in that process, I was trying to put my gun back in my backpack, and basically was just bawling in tears, worthless human. Couldn't put the gun back in my backpack because it was like I couldn't put it in the pocket. So I look in the pocket and my Bible's sitting there. And it wrecked me mentally. And I was toast. And in that moment, I was like, without God, I'm nothing. So I found God in 2019. what that means to me is way different than what most people think. It's like you find God and your whole life changes. No, my life kind of kept going on the same path, but instead of only praying to God or only looking to God in moments of need and desire, because I'd always believed God existed, but I'd never taken that to heart, and nothing in my actions about that represented that I believed in God.
Okay.
So it was like
would it be fair to say like you believed in him, but you didn't have a relationship?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
And that's why I say when I found God in 2019, it didn't change my life like dramatically, but I recognized wholeheartedly that I believed in God and that there was something much, much bigger than me that was happening. But I didn't know how to use that. I didn't know how to apply it to my life. So I went through a couple more years of just kind of still making the same mistakes, but it picked me up off the very deep, dark bottom.
Can I ask you what caused you to spiral like that during active duty? Because all the things we just talked about, like for me, they plagued me after I got out. When I was in, I never had a hint of that stuff.
Yeah. And everyone has different experiences. So mine, I don't know exactly. I mean, I'll just talk about the factors. Right?
Yep.
So I was away all the time, constantly. I think I was in Guam for 6.5 years. And I think I spent maybe 2.5 of those at home, roughly. Everything else, training cycles, everything were off island, deployments off island, small trips here, there, and other off island. So
And I forget, were you married during this time?
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So
And
now
so
you have a
complete loss of
stress
family.
factor that's constant back home.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And so, my wife being on Guam, she enjoyed Guam, but it's still a small island. And there's a lot of struggles that come with being isolated like that.
Yeah.
Me being gone and not being able to do much. Also my headspace, right? So when I'm gone, I'm gone. And at the time, I'm speaking at the time, I've changed a lot about how I think now. But at the time, it's like, hey, I don't have fucking time for this.
Bro, I'm the same. I was the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not checking in with my girl when I'm deployed.
Yeah.
I'm not writing my mom emails.
Yeah.
When I'm gone, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And I think that for me, something that I always told myself is when I'm in Iraq or Afghanistan, I want to focus on what's in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Sure.
I don't want to worry about, oh, well, your sister said this to me and my girlfriend's having problems at work. Like the stresses of home. And I'm not trying to diminish them either.
No.
Those are the things people are going through. That's their struggle. That's the life that they're currently living. But I didn't want to fucking deal with any of that stuff because what I saw was there was teammates that would spend, I don't even know how much money, but they would buy those like SIM cards and they would call their girlfriends or their wives almost every night. And it turned into a lot of drama. And dude, it's like, that's not conducive to being operational.
Yeah. Yeah. And so likewise, I was just kind of like, I talked to her, but I'm like, I don't, basically, and then even when emotions would get rough.
Then they're offended, and probably rightfully so.
Oh yeah,
No,
I don't blame my wife for any of this. Right?
Yeah,
she's going through a struggle just like I am, but I deal with it in solitude. And she's like, "Well, hey, I would really like it if you called me and said you love me." And I'm like, "That's sweet and all, but like, I don't know. I got shit going on right now." And so it's a cool.
I don't got time for soft ass shit.
It sounds super like macho and egotistical and all that, but at the time, I'm focused. I got, especially when I don't know, it depends on the mission, right? There was one where I was on a ship and I had the sat phone for our team, and I barely rode ships. And so I'm trying to learn the ship's culture. I have 6 dudes that I'm directly responsible for. I have people that I'm reporting to up through the ships. The whole operation the ship's doing is for us, my team. And I got a whole high bay directly that is ours. So I'm running elevators, scheduling maintenance with people. We got an amphibious wet deck to launch boats we're dealing with. We got dive rigs. We got all this shit. And
Yeah,
then I look
your
at my
time is consumed.
yeah, I look at my watch and it's like, oh shit, it's 11:30 at night. That makes it 2:00 in the morning back in my in Guam time, and I fucking missed our phone call.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, fuck it, whatever.
Well, and let me ask you this, because when we had a deployment to, it was actually Barry Cout, Afghanistan, and it was like 6 months, and they allocated, I want to say 5 minutes a month, right?
How generous.
And I was
But
like,
it's probably like strategy.
yeah,
right?
but
Only
I just opted out altogether.
Sure.
Because it's like, I haven't talked to my girlfriend in months. And we were together for like 5 years. She was with me the whole time I was a Ranger, right? So it was like a pretty serious relationship. But I was like, dude, 3.5 minutes into the conversation, you got 90 seconds left.
Yeah.
what are we gonna like? The likelihood that it gets cut off or that it ends with some type of awkward interaction. Like, I didn't even want to fucking touch any of that.
You see, and looking back now, like where my headspace is at, the things I've learned, if I would have taken 5 minutes every chance I got, and just been like, hey, sweetheart, I'm very, very busy. I have a lot going on. I've dedicated, I'm basically going to tell you this and then have to hang up. I just want you to know I love you and I hope you're doing well. And is there any major emergency that needs the command to step in? I'll make a phone call. They'll help you.
Yeah.
And like, no, good. I love you too. Hang up. Bye.
How old are you now?
37.
37. So yeah, I turned 45 on Sunday. So a little older, but still it's like you look back on how you conduct yourself within your relationship. Like we could be black belt world champions in relationships.
Yeah.
If you take what you know now
right.
to when you were 25.
Right. You look back, you're just a little white belt trying to acting like you're a great husband. And, 2-3 decades later, you look back like you dipshit.
Yeah. You don't really know shit.
Oh, it gives you respect. And then now it makes total sense why tribal culture is respect your elders.
Yeah.
Right. Because and then every chance, just through this entire process of this year, I've grown. When I'm, getting out, I thought I had the world by the balls. Right. So
this is one thing I've noticed is that every time you think you got, he just kicked the camera.
Yeah,
so
that's all good.
Okay. Every time you think you have life figured out, you enter a new phase and you realize, oh, I don't really know shit.
Yeah. And that plays back into my old job in the Navy.
Yeah.
When nothing's bad's going on is the time that you have to stop. We called it a pregnant pause. And you say, what can kill me now?
Yeah.
And if you're not thinking about if you're like, oh man, life's good, you're about to die.
Yeah. Which is kind of dark, but it's also true.
Oh, yeah.
And then that allows us to kind of, once you understand that that's kind of the cycle of life, now you're kind of okay. Because it's like, I feel like I will look 10 years from now when I'm 55 years old, I'll probably look back on 45-year-old Greg and be like, fuck, really? Yeah. Really, dude? You're doing this?
Yeah.
You thought that was a good idea? You thought getting in a boat and rowing across the Pacific was a good idea? But whatever the case may be, it's like, once you've went through that cycle enough, you realize it's like, oh, there's no arrival point in life. Not everything doesn't come together. My relationship is now good. My financial standing is now good. It's like, there's always this path that has to be continuously walked.
Yes, 100%.
And once you understand that process, you can kind of be at peace with it, Oh,
absolutely. And for me, and kind of tying back in the spirituality of things, it's been easier for me to realize that there is no end goal like you're talking about, but there's one end goal that I want to hear, and that is the basis of my entire existence. And it is the moment I die, I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't care. Right. So it's hard.
You want to be standing at the pearly gates, not being pulled down into the depths.
Right. Yeah. Eternity's a long time to be on fire, brother. So as long as that happens, and it's a hard transition. You don't just snap into something like that. Mm-hmm. So when we worry about money, no problem, right? Worry about money, but realize you're not going to take that with you in death.
Yeah.
Right. So when we worry about power, we worry about whatever the hell we're worried about. It's of the world.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. I'm not clowning on people for wanting power. I would advise people to use it for good and all these types of things.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Cause last week's episode was Jenny and I's wealth coach.
Dude, I can't wait. It's not launched yet.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Jenny and Jeremy.
It comes out tomorrow. Right. No. And bro, I want you to meet him at some point.
I've met Jeremy.
Oh, you did meet Jeremy.
He did the seminar here.
Okay, you were here for that. That's right. Cool.
Yeah.
So you feel his vibe and his energy, right?
100%.
And that's his whole thing. He's like, we need to figure out how to generate power, money, and wealth and use it for good.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because so many people attach negative connotations to it. And it's like anything can, I was telling one of my students, jiu-jitsu can be used for evil. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I think that's your new t-shirt. But it's true. You can take the power that you've learned on the mats and you could be a really nasty person with it, or you could empower people with it.
Right.
And I think that goes for pretty much everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So kind of circling back. So 2019 hit rock bottom, found God. 2022, I had moved back to Washington. I'm sitting with my small group of friends. And they were basically well, that's cool. You believe in God, but you're missing the other two parts of the Trinity here. You've recognized the Father, but you have the Son and the Holy Spirit. And they basically allowed me to ask questions I've never asked before. And that brought me to find Jesus Christ in my heart. And what that kind of means in my life is I wanted to believe in God and I wanted to believe in all these principles, but I hadn't accepted it because it didn't make sense to me. How is it possible that I can go, say you're fighting with a partner force or you're doing something overseas and there's these awesome dudes who are with you hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder, fighting against something that you can physically see as evil, but because they don't know Christ, they're not gonna prosper in the afterlife. There's no kingdom of heaven for them because they don't recognize Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. And I was like, I'm not okay with that. I don't like that. It was weird. And so I sat and had a conversation with them, and it was actually a buddy of mine's bachelor party. Right? We're sitting around a box.
You weren't hanging out with strippers and
exactly. That's what I tell people. I was like, there was the worst bachelor party ever. It turned out to be the greatest thing in my life.
Hey, what did you do for your bachelor party? We sat around a fire and talked about how to accept Christ.
Literally. Yeah. Like we had some whiskey and I cooked up some elk that I had.
Okay.
So it was like fresh cooked meat that I harvested, a little bit of whiskey with the boys, cigars. But then, yes, a bonfire in Jesus Christ.
All right.
And so that
Jesus and elk, that doesn't suck, right?
And so that's 22, right? So and that changed the trajectory of my life. Then learning, and then I got involved in a small men's group. So around 2023, I started this men's group. That carried through my retirement in 24, and then 30 March this year, I was baptized.
Okay.
So 2 months after ours. And that men's group was basically introduced me and let me understood the final part of the Trinity, the Holy Spirit.
Where'd you get baptized?
My local church in Oak Harbor.
Okay.
Family Bible Church. Fantastic little church.
I was going to say, you should have used my cold plunge, bro.
Oh, seriously. And I struggle with this. Baptism was a very big leap for me because I didn't.
What is it? Just talk me through what it even means.
Yes, dude. And that was exactly why it was a leap for me because I didn't know what it means. And every time I asked people, why do you get baptized? It was kind of like, because you should. And I was like,
because I can watch it and I can be like, okay, you are using this process to almost like show your faith to the outer world. Right.
And from a very high perspective, like umbrella catch statement, that's exactly what it is.
Okay. And I just asked you, what does it really represent? Because I guess I don't know.
So there's a lot of scripture that leads into this, and it goes back to the military is how I view things. So that's how I'll describe it, right? In the old manuals, you have should versus shall, right? Should means this is highly recommended by the military. Shall means you're going to fucking do this.
Yeah, that's dictated by policy.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Right. And so in the Bible, there is no shall. It's all should. And so I was kind of like, okay. So it is called upon us. God does call us to wash ourselves of our sins. And the idea of dunking yourself in water is purifying, washing you clean of these sins that you've created in the past. But doing it publicly is announcing to everybody. And nowadays on social media, you could announce it to the whole world. Mm-hmm. But it's to those around you saying, no, I'm making the choice. I'm accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord forever and always. And so it's a declaration to everyone to hold you accountable as well. But it still didn't make sense to me. Like, why am I doing it in front of people if it's a pact between me and God? Like, if this is a representation of how I feel, it's in my heart.
Yeah.
And so I struggle because I'm not just going to do things because someone says, hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's just never been my nature.
Well, bro, that's one thing that's a problem with religion. Mm-hmm. If you are moving towards a certain set of beliefs or just conducting yourself in a certain way because of what everybody else thinks, it's always like,
So another great representation, my buddy Ian, who was part of the Jesus and Elk Meat night.
Jesus and Elk Meat.
That's what we're going to call it.
There's another t-shirt.
That's a timestamp. Yeah. So Ian he's been in the church his whole life, but is very much so like-minded, like myself and other members of the group. But he's known God his whole life, so he's very knowledgeable on Scripture, but is also very practical in its application. And something he told me was that rat poison is 99% food.
Okay.
Right. So that 1% is what kills the rat. And that is, kind of a parallel. And you can have a church that's teaching 99% godly views, but that 1% will lead you straight to hell.
I see.
So you have to, the reason it's so important to understand the Bible and what it's saying and understand the context of its power is so you don't fall for the 1%. And so I'm hyper vigilant on things. Like if someone's like, hey, everyone does baptism, this is awesome, you know, look at this declaration. I'm like, where's the poison?
Yeah.
How are you trying to kill me right now? Like, how are you trying to steal my soul? And I come at it from a hypercritical point, and some people might be like, hey, that's kind of a negative way to look at things, but I'm open to hearing more as long as there is more.
Yeah.
So if you can't tell me why, I'm going to be hypercritical forever.
Dude, I don't think that that's a bad thing.
I don't either.
You know?
It gets a little pushback, you know, it becomes abrasive in religious circles because it's kind of like, well, why are you fighting it so much? But then the people who are really deep into Christian, you know, ideology, they kind of applaud me. They're like, well, good, you should always question.
Yeah.
There's a group of people.
It's jujitsu.
Yeah.
Like if people are like, hey, why do you do this? And like, well, because that's what my coach said.
Right.
If you can't really start to dive into the minutia, I don't feel like you really you're not an SME. You're not a subject matter expert.
Dude, and this is the exact so in jiu-jitsu you have moves that work, but if you know your opponent, right, and your opponent's setting you up to do that, like it's moves and counter moves.
Yeah.
Right. So nothing is black and white. It's the same with the Bible. That's why Jesus spoke in parables, because if it was like, you will do this every time, there's going to be that one instance that leads you down into destruction.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, you know, hey, if he leaves that arm out there, do it every time. Like, okay, until he figures it out, and then you get beat, you get submitted, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand the context of every single move and counter move so that you can apply it in a way that you become victorious. Same thing in religious aspects. So you have to understand the scripture and what's in and around it and the context of it so you can apply it in the situation where it comes.
Okay.
There was a group of people called the Bereans, and they were absolutely praised in the Bible for questioning. They would listen to sermons, soak it all in, go home, and fact check it, basically, in modern terminology.
Yeah.
Open the Bible and be like, is what he said correct? And they were praised for it. And so not that I'm comparing myself to the Bereans, but I know that being critical and being, you know, ever vigilant and looking through things is my style.
Well, if
it's not shunned upon. It's
if
just,
anything is real, it can withstand scrutiny.
100%. I agree.
So like,
So what's the
bring it. You know what I mean? Like,
you might call me thick-headed, but I'm not, you know, I'm not sitting here defacing anything I believe in. I might just be stubborn. It might take me an extra second.
Yeah.
But the beauty behind that, at least for my style of learning, is the moment I hold on to it because I researched it, because I know the ins and outs, and I'm like, that is why I believe in it. I'll believe it forever.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Now it sits in your heart as truth.
It's foundational, right?
Okay.
Although, you know, I could tell you 1,000 things about how a rocket ship works, but does that mean you can operate or build or repair or do anything about a rocket ship? Hell no.
Yeah.
Right? You're just like, well, shit. I mean, it got to the moon. Cool. Right?
Or did it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that one nowadays. Like, what do you mean you lost the technology?
Yeah. Come on, dude. Well, I mean, not to go down a completely different rabbit hole, but in the last 5 years, we've learned that we can't trust what the government says.
100%.
So now we got to re-examine everything we've ever heard our whole
Isn't
life.
that wild?
Everything we've ever heard our whole life. It's nuts.
Same
dude.
thing. So being critical. Critical of, but it just sucks because of history.
Yeah.
Right. And we all know
want,
repeating history is human nature.
Yeah.
But and we don't even know what history is that we repeat.
And bro, we want to, there's an inherent thing inside of us that wants to believe that most things are operating under like the force of good. You know what I mean?
I do.
And that doesn't seem to be the case. And
really, really muddy right now.
it's real muddy. And it's probably been real muddy since the beginning of fucking mankind.
Sure.
We just got kind of pulled into a season where we're like, hey, these good people are looking out for us. And
dude, we neglected that 1%.
Yeah. That's exactly what we did.
We ate our 99% food and said thanks.
Yep. And as long as, you know, I've talked about this on the show a lot. As long as you have enough money in your bank to buy food, your heat is turned on, and you have a place to lay your head, you're already fucking winning in comparison to most of humanity worldwide.
Right.
So it's easy to be like, well, most things are pretty good, so I'm content. And as soon as you feel content, evil forces are they start operating underneath that fucking that facade of we're doing good, and now it gets, like you said, it gets muddy fucking fast.
Well, and that is one of the reasons I love your slogan, microdosing adversity, right? Keeping you sharp. You always have to be on your guard. You always have to be going outside your bubble and doing things that are hard, because ease and complacency is exactly what leads you into temptation and evil.
Fucking 100%, bro.
Dude, it just time and time again. If you can show me one instance where I'm wrong, I'll be happy to listen. But I'll sit here for years and no one will prove me wrong.
No, that's also a truth, man. And so you said, I want to go back a second, because you talked about finding God and then having to develop a relationship with Jesus and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
So is that Catholicism?
No.
Is that not?
Are you talking about just like the Trinity?
The Trinity, the Holy Trinity.
So there's crossovers between a lot of religions.
Okay, because I guess I don't understand the difference between some religions. That's kind of like the foundation. The Holy Trinity is kind of the foundation, and then others, it's not, right? The foundation is simply your relationship with Christ.
So I'm no expert at this.
Okay.
Right. And so I do want to be very hesitant on how much I speak on this, because this is part of my educational process right now.
I always love it when there's someone sitting out there saying, they don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Oh, well.
Hey, welcome to hanging out with us.
Oh, dude. Yeah. I'm a subject matter in just about fucking everything.
Yeah.
You know, until someone who actually speaks up, and then I'm like, yeah, you should listen to that guy. But
also it's finding what feels right in your heart and what works for you.
Right.
You know?
And the key takeaway. So Christianity goes back, and if you haven't watched the TV show, The Chosen, this is a great representation. They did a very, very good job writing this TV show. And of course, Passion of the Christ was a great movie, and they're making the second one now. So there's a lot of good education in there. If you're not a reader, or you don't know where to start in the Bible, or you're not quite comfortable enough to go to a church and ask for help, start with this show. Go on. I think it's on Netflix or whatever, or Prime. I think it's on Prime. And
what's it called again?
The Chosen.
The Chosen. Okay.
Yeah. And it's about Jesus's early life up into, creating the apostles, and his discipleship of how, and just, it's not complex. They break it down very easy, but when you read the Bible and apply it to the show, it's very complex. They just do a very good job of breaking it down so we can watch it. Right.
Yeah.
Because you can't. So depending on how you learn, I have a very hard time reading and then staying focused and then absorbing that. Well, bro, but if I can listen to it or watch it, I can retain it like it's, for a while.
I've tried to read the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to sit down and read the Bible.
Yeah, dude.
So how do you read the Bible? You read it. In my mind, I was like, I guess you just read it like a book. We start at page 1, and it's like
Genesis 1.
Yeah, and it's like fucking Joseph begot so and so, who begot so and so, who begot so and so.
Dude, the Old Testament is hard,
and it was like, I have no idea what I just read or what it means.
Yep.
And then I've had people since then be like, no, it's how many different books is it? Or do you know?
Oh gosh, I should know this. I don't.
Okay, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, no. But regardless, it's not a sequential order. It's not a story. It's a bunch of different stories captured in one book.
Correct.
You can read them however the fuck you want.
Right, and some of them don't line up right. Like especially like if you look at it like line for line, because if you and I experience something and then we go write about it independently,
of course,
it's going to be slightly different. And so some people try to discredit the Bible with that. But the New Testament has a lot of depictions and stories about Jesus's life, and then people will be like, "Well, that's not the same," and you're like, "Well, it's two different people, but they're talking about the exact same thing." And so the New Testament I find is much easier to read. Easier being in quotations, right?
Yeah,
because it's not written in like you said, the son of this, the son of this, the son of this, and then you're like, dude, that's like 10 generations that I don't know any, and all of their names are not typical Western American names, so they're hard for me to,
It's just easy to start feeling like you're getting lost.
Oh, dude, in 5 lines, I'm like, what am I doing right now? So it is absolutely difficult.
I remember this is a long time ago. I was like, hey, God, I'm fucking trying right now. And as they say in the military, trying's failing. Right? And I was like, dude, if this stuff that like you want to impart on me is something that's going to help me grow spiritually, fucking help me understand it, dude. And, but at the end of the day, I think you nailed it. You said, bro, like it doesn't matter we still learn in different capacities. Things still have to make sense to us in different ways. And I'm going to watch The Chosen.
Do it.
Yeah, I think that's
man.
cool.
And that doesn't necessarily answer your question per se, but it gives a better insight. So Catholicism, there's different beliefs in the Catholic religion, especially with like all the saints and how they do their leadership structures that I feel falls far from the Bible. Now, the foundational principle and the belief in Jesus as the Lord, yep, gotcha. Believe in God, yep, gotcha.
Did I tell you I was Catholic for 8 weeks?
8 weeks? Oh, you had a good run.
I might fucking go to hell for saying this, but in Rangers, actually 7 weeks.
Oh, you did tell me this.
Yeah, because in Ranger School,
Man.
after the first Catholic service, my buddy, his name's Josh Poe, he comes back and he goes, bro, they gave us a wafer and a shot of grape juice. And I was like, you got to fucking eat? Yeah. I'm Catholic the rest of Ranger School. So,
no, and those are, dude, if that's, one of your egregious that you feel like this is damning you, I promise you've done way worse.
Yeah. I was just hungry. That's all.
Well, and then you look at the Jewish faith.
Jesus and elk, or it can be Jesus and wafers, right?
Dude, hey. Well, we'll get into that because, that is still true in Christianity. Still, but let's go back. So the Jewish faith, I would say, so Christianity stems off of Judaism. And the Jewish faith and I'm not talking about this personally, just as it was been described to me, strayed from the speakings of Jesus directly. So Christianity stemmed off of that because Judaism got convoluted. And then you watch The Chosen, the Pharisees, the priests of the time, everything got a little bit funky.
Well, and that's one of my biggest foundational problems with organized religion is we can take any religion and we can take any portion of history, and people manipulated it and abused it and used it for personal power. And there's a lot of gross things throughout history that people did to each other or other people under the guise of religion. And it's like having to navigate through all that. It's like, what was human influence? And then what was literally the word of God or chasing like spiritual wholeness?
Oh, for sure.
And
I think that comes down to an individual, like you have to find it in your heart, because if I look at it holistically, I could make the argument Christianity is an ugly religion, or all religion is ugly. Yeah. Look at the super churches.
Yeah.
That's
I know.
disgusting.
Yeah.
Right.
And bro, there's like Islam has at times in history tried to conquer the entire planet, but Christianity has at times too. Oh yeah. With the Spanish conquistadors and stuff. So it's like,
and what's funny is it's all Abrahamic religions. So they're all foundationally set in a similar belief, but they all say they're right and everyone else is blasphemous.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough. Like, okay, well then is there a right one? And if so, which one? And that makes it very convoluted.
Yeah.
So that was my early struggle.
It's like anything though. Once human beings start to, I actually had a talk with AI about this.
Okay.
Right? Because I asked ChatGPT, I was like, when are you going to become Skynet and take over the world? Right?
Right.
And it said conquering and controlling and taking over, as you say, that's a human emotion. I don't hold the desire to have more or take more. If I were to know that I was going to be unplugged right now, I don't care. That doesn't have, there's no fear in that. You're prescribing human emotions, human desires, human needs to the world of artificial intelligence. I said, now, if somebody were to utilize artificial intelligence and program in those human desires for conquering, for controlling, for subjugating, now AI would be utilized for that, but in its foundation, it's the human emotion that's driving that. It's not AI. And people have done the same thing spiritually.
Yes.
It's like they've taken this thing that is supposed to be about you finding yourself and becoming a better person, having a relationship with God, and they've convoluted it with control, conquering, and they've attached the human desires to it. Yeah.
And so I literally had this conversation with my wife yesterday. And
Fuck
just
yeah, good practice run.
Well, we're, once again, she's like me, you know, we're always going to seek out that 1%. And if it doesn't exist, then it's something that we can, you know, apply to our lives and make sure that we're not slowly poisoning ourselves. But
Are you and her aligned with your faith very well?
Yes.
Good, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's very key. And I do know a couple people, case in point, one of the elders at my church, very strong Christian man. He was in my men's group. His wife is Jewish, so she didn't go to our church. And it was kind of interesting to me to see that dynamic. And
to me, it's weird when it's like, because you hear that with politics too. I'm a Republican, but my wife's a Democrat. And it's like, on one hand, it's like, hey, cool that you can put your differences aside and love each other. But I also feel like to truly unify and build a family and have a household, there needs to be a lot of things that should be congruent.
100%. Yeah. And I'm not downplaying the gentleman who is in my group.
No, to each his own. You do you,
exactly. Right. But I agree with you foundationally, you know, like how do you raise children? And we don't have kids, so that's not a non-issue for me and my wife. But even just so day-to-day life, if there's something I want to do, gosh, and I can't think of a great example. Without kids, it makes it much more cut and dry.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. And I don't have kids. I'm looking at my nieces and nephews and my friends who do have kids. I definitely see their struggles. So I can't speak on it firsthand. But I don't know, financial decisions. It might not seem religious, but how you view money, or how you view assets or liabilities or future plans. Like, should one person be working, you know, for this goal and one person should be working for that goal, or should we both be on the same goal? Or how do you spread out all this time, effort, and energy? It's kind of similar to your politics or your religious views and how they all play a key factor. And my wife and I are definitely aligned very heavily. And it makes a lot of things, even in our, I don't want to say in our arguments, but when we disagree with something, we're disagreeing just in a slight different way. So the argument is solved much easier.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like, okay, we're saying the same thing, but we're coming at it from usually two different ways. And if we're present enough to be like, time out, we're both idiots.
Bro, sorry, ladies, but the way in which you come at things, fuck, I guess I'm gonna air some of my dirty laundry. Because, dude, I was on the phone with a loan officer yesterday for getting the funds for the expedition, right? Yeah. And Jenny comes downstairs and she's like, "Who is that on the phone?" Like, and I could just tell she was immediately irritated that I was talking to a loan officer. And it has nothing to do with the money.
Yeah.
It has to do with the fact that she didn't think I was utilizing a trusted source. And because they called me, right?
Okay.
And bro, you get fucking how many scam calls a day? I get like 100 of them.
I get quite a few.
You know?
Yeah.
So this guy, and this is a true story. You want to talk about God stuff? And I said, today, help me find the path to $91,000. Because that's the invoice I got for the boat yesterday.
Yeah, dude.
And I was like, help me find the path to 91,000. And that could be a sponsorship. That could be me generating it somehow. That could be whatever. Help me find the path. And bro, I literally said that in prayer and the phone rang like 5 seconds later.
Dude.
And he goes, "Hi, my name's so-and-so. I'm with whatever lending firm." And I was like, that's wild.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, "Are you interested in any type of refinance or HELOC?" And I was like, whoa. So I Googled him and their organization, and they have an A+ rating through the Better Business Bureau. But we were on different pages because she didn't think in that time that I had done that work to see who he was and what they are. So she was like immediately offended that I was talking to someone that she thought was trying to scam us.
Sure.
And what I've noticed is women will approach you in a manner that is only acceptable for feminine energy to approach you at, right? If I came in here and you were on the phone with someone, I said, "Jeff, who are you on the phone with?" You'd be like, "Bro, talk to me like that again, I'm gonna smack you." You know what I mean? Like, hey, and I told my wife, I said, dude, women have this weird way of like aggressively questioning us. And like when you get aggressively questioned like that, my default mode is combat.
Yeah.
But I can't go to combat with you because you're a female. And I've told my daughters this too. I'm like, if a man, even my best friend in the world, I told my daughters, like Brian Shealy, he's been my best friend since I was like 11. I said, if he snapped at me the way that you just snapped at me in the kitchen, we'd be out in the backyard fighting each other.
Yeah.
And we've been friends for 30 years. But because you're a 16-year-old girl, you feel like you can snap and give that like aggressive energy.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess it just comes down to the different way that males and females communicate with each other.
Yeah. And in some way, I think it is necessary.
Yeah, of course, bro.
You know, and I'm not discrediting the fact that, you know, I know you know this, but it is difficult to comprehend in the moment.
Yeah.
Right? And there's the trains of thoughts are men and women, because we come at it from different points of view. You know, maybe one time you don't realize that you're getting duped, and all of a sudden she points it out and you're like, oh, son of a bitch.
Well,
right?
and
so
there,
it could have been that
bro, there you go.
Yeah.
In the foundation of what she was irritated about,
She's justified.
that she thought I was potentially making a mistake that could damage this family.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. She is justified.
But you also have to have trust in your husband. Like, look, I'm not a dumbass.
Yeah, but she's also so much smarter than me.
Sure.
And that's not me like being self-deprecating. I'm not a self-deprecating person. I don't think I'm a stupid person.
Oh no, dude, I've watched her run this as you teach. Like, I know you guys have your roles.
She's an extremely intelligent person.
And what she's done with Jeremy's program, you were talking about. Dude,
yes.
So I know she's incredibly intelligent.
And so it's like, it's not lost on me that she was drawn to me for the attributes that I bring to the relationship.
Yeah.
But she's already very grounded in her strengths.
Right.
You know?
And I think you did a beautiful job touching on this when you did the solo, your last episode, the solo one, when you were talking about how she handled questions about people like, why would you let your husband go on this endeavor?
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's
what
what
do
she
you mean
said.
let?
Dude, don't you want a wild animal?
Yeah.
Don't try. You don't get a lion to try and tame it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And again, like, women that choose lions, they understand that it's like, okay, I'm going to feel safe. I'm going to feel protected.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have a good sex life. I'm going to have these things that come with choosing an animal. Mm-hmm. But then there's the other side of the coin from choosing an animal.
Dude.
And that's just reality.
And the hardest time in my marriage, so 2019, still the hardest time in my marriage because, and we started on it and it started down a beautiful rabbit hole. But it led basically why I spun out of control during service was because my marriage fell apart.
Yeah.
So I wasn't in a good headspace. I was constantly gone, right? But even if you talk to my wife now, and the only reason I'm talking for her is because we've had this conversation, she's voiced it. But even when I was drinking heavily, always gone, not being, you know, quote unquote, well, I won't even put it in quotes. I was not being a good husband. Mm-hmm. She always felt safe.
Yeah.
Right. Because she picked a person who's like, no matter what, even if we are fighting dead tooth and nail and her and me are just absolutely going at
anyone
it,
else has a problem with her sideways, is dead.
Yeah. They're going to feel all the wrath that I'm holding back from this argument.
Yeah, you're like,
times 10 on that ass, dude.
Yes. and we joke and laugh about that, but I'm here to tell you, the older I get, the more I realize an overwhelming percentage of women, and my wife is one of them, grew up with a lot of traumas. There's just a lot of nasty people out there doing nasty things.
Yeah.
And when you find someone that you feel is a safe space, for a lot of women, that's fucking huge.
Yeah. Well, it's also and then this goes back to the religious aspect. We have, in my opinion, right, and we have roles as humans, right? And men and women have roles, fathers, sons, friends. We all have roles that we need to fulfill. And the husband should be a protector.
Yes.
Right. Also the leader of the household.
100%.
Even though we all know that our wives are smarter than us, they're still going to turn to us in times of turmoil.
Yes.
Right. And so we have to be the rock. And I say this hypocritically because I haven't always been the rock. But I do understand and I'm learning and growing towards being that rock. Because that is my role as a man and as a father.
Bro, I feel that in my heart as you say it.
Yeah, dude.
Because this is the truth. For you guys that are in your 20s, like, take it from us who have learned this experience through trials and tribulations. The sooner you let your wife understand that you're the rock, she will fucking prosper.
Yes.
She will become the woman she's supposed to be. She will run the family. She will run the household. She will do the things that you have as an expectation of your woman once you're her rock. And it's like, I don't know why it fucking took me forever to figure that concept out.
Right.
But once you start being that person, and you already touched on it too, it's pretty simple. If you would have called her once a week and just said, hey, we're busy, I don't have time to connect, but I want you to know that you're the fucking center of my universe. I fucking love you.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting me while I'm off doing crazy shit all over the world.
Yeah.
Talk to you next week.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, that's it. It's
And
over.
Any lingering doubts, any hardships, anything, it would have given her the power to get through it. It would have given her the peace of mind to be like, that man loves me no matter what.
But you were not being the rock.
Correct.
Right? And bro, and I'm not casting any judgment because
It's not judgment, it's a fact.
Yeah, there's been plenty of times when I failed to be the rock too.
Yeah.
But
And a lot of people, and I want to touch on this before we get too far, the people misconstrue what that means, right? And we're talking about generalities, but a lot of people think that being the rock means you beat your chest, and if someone kicks in the front door, you shoot them in the chest. That is not it.
Nope.
I mean, that's a small portion if you want to view it like that, but to have true empathy and compassion for those you love. So when my wife's having a bad day and she's just being my wife, right? Or anyone's wife or whatever. If you've been around a female who's in a bad mood, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
For you to take a half a step back and be like, she's not mad at me, or maybe she even is.
Or maybe her period's about to start.
100%. It is the third week of the month, so you know, it's about to get brutal. Yeah. But the point being, if you can take half a step back and be like, you know what, and give it a moment, or whatever her love language is, or however you figure this out, and just be like, hey, I love you.
Yeah.
Like I can be mad at you, you can be mad at me, but you need to know that no matter what you say or what happens or however this unfolds, I love you no matter what. And if you can do that or say that, and my wife is a big like affection, like in touch. Mm-hmm. So like when she's mad as fuck, if I can pull back my ego and walk over and just give her a hug, problem solved.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
She just wants a hug, dude. Right. And so that's being a rock.
Yeah.
Right. Disarming the situation. You're the leader because no matter what, you are in charge. She might run the house and know the finances and be the heartbeat, but you still have to be the blood or the brain or however you want to correlate that. You still have to be another vital organ.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to impact the heartbeat and impact the system that you've created in a way that moves it forward.
It's so strange to me that how simple it really is, but for whatever reason, and bro, and tell me if you've experienced this. There's been times when we're fighting about stuff, and I think, dude, if I just give her a hug and say I love you, everything would resolve.
You don't do it.
Don't care. Not gonna. Don't care. Not gonna fucking do it,
dude.
Because fuck you. That's why.
And that's
it's like, ugh.
Our human brains, and this goes back to Christianity. I could learn everything about Christianity. I could learn everything about my wife. It's not knowing; it's applying it.
There you go.
Right. So I can, however you want to phrase that. But if you can't apply it, then your knowledge is useless.
Yeah.
It might be helpful to you, but understanding you're going to make mistakes and then get better. Applying it to the best of your ability and trying things. Like you said, I the amount of times I've done that, like you just described, astronomical.
Okay, good.
Right.
So I'm not fucking nuts, dude.
No.
Because it's like there's some type of app. It's like your ego thinks that if you do what would diffuse the situation, because that's what would work for her, then I'm kind of conceding victory to her. Yep. You know, like, no, she's the one that fucked up. She needs to come to me with that.
Right.
That's not being the leader, though.
No, it's not.
That's waiting for her to be the leader.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's something that I say it time and time again. You have to find yourself in the problem. Mm-hmm. Right. Because I can't just look at my wife and be like, you fix yourself right now, and then the problem goes away. Right. Because what am I talking about?
Yeah.
Right.
Bro,
so what did I do in that problem? Right. So if she's mad at something, if I think that nothing I did caused that problem, I'm wrong. Now, maybe it's a 1 percentile where it's like, hey, maybe I didn't say hello right away when I walked in the door, which is not really a fault, but maybe that pushed it over. Right. So maybe
if you can identify your
involvement.
Yeah. Your involvement.
Yeah.
Dude. That is actually where Jenny is a black belt world champion.
Yeah.
Because we've went through some shit, right? And there's been, just like you said, there's been times I have not been a good husband to her. And even in like some of our worst times, instead of projecting blame on me, she'd be like, the reason that we're here is because of this. And my choices and my involvement played a role in it, and I have to accept that. And then it's like,
Isn't that huge?
God damn it, dude! You just
Now I got no. Now,
yeah, you know, it's
you
like
took off my armor.
she took ownership, and I like how you use that percentage thing too, because like I may be 95% of the problem, but if she steps into the discussion or even the argument and says, "Hey, like you've done this, 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 and this, but I want you to know, I know that I contributed by doing this and this," and it's like, you got me.
Equal ownership.
That's checkmate, because
Right.
you show up to the argument and the thing you bring to the table first are your faults. Well, now what do I got to do? All right, fuck.
Yeah.
Let's talk about my faults now.
Well, yeah, it's standing there and holding a mirror.
Yeah.
Like, here am I. Look at you.
Yep.
Right. And it's a difficult task. And we can sit here and be like, yeah, we get it. We get it. I'm gonna fuck it up the moment I get home. My wife's gonna be like, dude, how's the podcast with Greg? I'm like, it was all right.
No, dude, I'm actually thinking I'll walk home and I'm going to give her one of those big hugs that makes her feel safe.
Yeah, dude.
And as of right now, I'm a relationship expert.
But these are the reasons why I love Christianity so much and why it's been such a huge impact, because it teaches these values, right? Everyone thinks it's all hearts and rainbows. Well, I shouldn't say everyone. There's a lot of people who have a misconception about like, oh, everything's simple and you're just trying to live this happy-go-lucky life. I'm like, dude, there's some very dark principles in the Bible because it's set in truth. And you have to understand it teaches your roles. It teaches love and empathy, but it also doesn't say be a pussy.
Yeah.
Right. And I know I'm using crass language and swearing. But
there's plenty of stories in the Bible like David and Goliath.
Yes.
Like killing a fucking, a bully, for lack of a better word.
Dude.
Right. And it's like, oh, okay.
I know you said you watch the shows and stuff, but David and Goliath, there's actually more to the story I didn't even know about until like 2 or 3 days ago.
Oh shit.
And people might like clown on me for this because I still don't. I put it in my notes. I'm like, put that in the queue of things I need to learn. God gave David trials leading up to Goliath, right? So he didn't just become like a normal person, all of a sudden fights a monster and wins. He had to fight a bear and a lion who were threatening his flock. So leading up to the fight with Goliath, he fought these wild creatures, which prepared him for Goliath.
Yeah.
And I still haven't looked in depth, but when I heard that, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
That kind of called to me like,
yeah, I need to fucking tell my team that story, because it's like, one thing that we always talk about in the world of martial arts is it's like, you're not just going to show up and be the warrior you want to be because you're in a violent encounter now.
right.
You better put the time in training. And it's like, hey, I guess even David had to, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And and then tying this back into like my last year, I had an experience the other day that it hit me hard enough for me to understand, to realize what had happened. The last year, I've been so focused on the transition, civilian life, the struggles that I've gone through, that I haven't really put myself in a physically dangerous situation. Not like go speed down the road and be a jackass.
Yeah.
But like I haven't trained in like a hardcore jujitsu. I haven't done these things that have put me in stressful. So like you've said it before, when you're on your back and someone's laying on your face and they got your gi and your arm's in a bad position, you start to feel that like, oh fuck. Yeah. You're like, oh shit.
Fuck off of me. Oh, I can't get him off of me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And when that moment sets, I haven't been there in a long time. The other day, a friend of mine, I'll call him a friend. He's an acquaintance of mine, contacted me. He's been missing, MIA for a long time. Old, I almost said retired, former drug addict, trying to get his life together, falling apart, shows up after a year. We get in a fight on the phone because he's just begging me for money. And when I said no, he lost it. Well, I was like, okay, I need to go talk to him. And when I was driving down there, I was like, dude, this guy's in a frantic state. He's not happy with me because I didn't just hand him money. And as I'm driving down there, I started getting nervous.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, dude. I've done thousands of things that were way more dangerous than this, way more, unplanned and just odd. But my body hasn't experienced that fight or flight in so long that the idea that he might come after me, I started like my blood pressure started going up. And I was like, dude, I've fallen. I have to retrain myself. It's that perishable skill.
Yes, dude.
And I have, that was a realization literally 2 days ago that I was like, ooh, I need to get back into something that like pushes my limits again.
Let me say this though, because everything's a dichotomy, right? When I was in Ramadi, an IED or incoming, it didn't even activate like my flinch response.
Right.
And at the time, I thought that was pretty badass. You know, you're in the chow hall and a mortar drops through and everybody's running and screaming. Yeah. And me and my team just finish our dinner.
Use the opportunity to go get more chicken.
Yeah. Seriously, like that was kind of the thing, because it's like I'd already accepted I was probably going to die on that deployment.
Right.
And it's like, all right, now let's just see how long this plays out. Then I deployed, it was to Baghdad. And then I deployed to Erbil, and I deployed to these different cities where I didn't get in any contact. And then the next time I got in contact, it was like, oh, fuck, dude. And I remember me and my buddy dropped to the ground, and then we looked at each other, and we're like, we're fucking pussies now, dude, right? And kind of laughed about it. But here's the other side of that. Now looking back on it, it's like, dude, it's okay for your nervous system to have reactions to things that you think could potentially bring you harm.
Yeah, it's a life-saving technique.
And so if your body is now feeling certain things, don't be mad at that. Actually celebrate that our nervous systems have repaired themselves, right? Now that you can feel, I would call it fear. I could feel fear again. I used to boast and be prideful that I didn't feel fear, right? But we're supposed to feel fear.
Yeah.
That's part of being a man. That's part of the human experience. So now it's like, okay, now what if I feel fear, but I don't let the fear dictate my decision? I think that's where that's probably the optimal point to be at.
Right.
You know? Right. And let me ask you, you started feeling some nerves, like, fuck, is he tweaked out? Is he going to stab me? You probably still went and fucking had the conversation, right?
I tried. He never answered. I did not see anybody. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to walk backwards because I'm like, oh, I don't feel good.
That's what I'm saying, right? And so it's like,
but you do a double check. And the reason I agree with you 100% is because that in that moment, you start to get a little reckless, like you're saying, when you don't have that fear concept.
Yes.
There was actually a point in time where I was jumping out of a plane, military free fall, and I jumped out. And only when I jumped out did I really stop and think about the fact that I had just jumped out. Like there was no nerves or nothing. I just kind of was like, sick, this is awesome. Enjoy the scenery. Boom, jumped out. And I'm like, oh shit, dude. I didn't like mentally go through my checklist and make sure that my shoe, like me personally, the jump masters did, and I was safe. But me personally, I had not mentally prepared for that moment until I was falling.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. Right. Right. And then I was like, that's not safe. And it's the same concept here. So I'm driving down the road. I get this little rush of emotion and I'm like, oh shit. But it triggered, and training helps and all this and being self-aware of these instances. But okay, well, I'm always carrying. Okay. Do I have a route and chamber? Where is it out of my body? And I go through mental reps in my head of drawing. If it's just a knife, do I pull? Like you situationally start to prepare yourself.
Yep.
If he just yells at me, okay, right? I can always leave. I can always shut the door and create a barrier between me and him. If he, gets to jump on me, but he has no weapon, there's no way I'm going to hurt. Like I outweigh him by like 100 pounds, right? So there's all these, then I'm able to go down the line of possibilities. And then I don't feel as nervous because now I'm prepared.
Yeah.
So mentally I'm checked in. So I might still have that little bit of nervous energy, but I'm prepared now.
Bro, I love that. I mean, I talked about that last week on the solo episode. It's preparation is the antidote to fear.
Yeah.
Right. And so like for my row that I'm planning, it's actually not difficult for me that I have to row an hour a day. It's not like some people are like, dude, you're doing an hour a day. That's crazy. And it's like, for me, it's not crazy because the formula makes sense. And the formula is this: if I prepare properly and I show up being who I'm supposed to be, that leads to mission success. If I cut corners, if I try and skimp on training, if I try and convince myself, well, I'm tired or whatever the case may be, it's just like jiu-jitsu. It's just like MMA. It's just like the military. When you show up and it's game time, the only thing that you can hang your hat on and be proud of is knowing whether or not you prepared properly. Those are the things that are inside of your control.
And that's that huge, what is it? The factor of P's, proper planning prevents piss
poor performance. Yeah. And so like I can get in this boat in May and start rowing. And dude, I know it's going to come. As soon as the horizon disappears and it's just fucking water, I already know it's going to be like, bro, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
And
I know that. But what I also know is that I will honestly be able to tell myself, you did the right things. You took the time to learn the weather patterns. You took the time to learn the currents.
Yeah.
You took the time to become physically prepared.
Yeah.
You did the research. You have the right equipment on board. You have the right emergency equipment on board. And it's like, you do the right things, it's going to lead to victory on the other side.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe, and I shouldn't even say this, but an MMA fight is a perfect example. It may not lead to victory every time.
Right.
But what you never want to do is look back and be like, I should have done this. I should have done that.
Table. Yeah.
It's like, if you do everything that is in your power to lead to success, it's in God's hands now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's in the Pacific Ocean's hands now.
Yeah.
And it's going to do what it does.
Yep.
But I know that I showed up being who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that. I didn't relate it to an MMA fight, but I was listening to the episode with Anthony hunting. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because the people who just walk out of their house, throw their bow in their car, and then go hunting and come back with nothing. Like, well, no shit.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he's out preseason. He's scouting.
Dude, he said he did like 90 miles in 11 days or
Yeah.
something, right? And it made me think about it because it related to my career. It made me chuckle. From a bird's eye point of view, he's like, I only walked that far. Right. So in the last year, I've only gone that far. But then when you look at it like the stock market and the peaks and valleys of like up and down through hills and all these trials and like, so the preparation is massive. Right.
And then here's the other side of it that I think is really important. And again, I talked about it last week, but men like us thrive when we have a mission.
Yes. It's the purpose.
It's the purpose.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm telling you, bro, this row has already got me in the best shape that I've been in probably 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Is I'm hammering that thing 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, when have I hammered something for 1 hour a day? It's been a long time. But once you put something in front of you that forces you to show up, it's not even hard anymore. It's just, I know the process.
Dude, and that's the big part. And I commend you for doing something that's like this egregious. Because most people don't comprehend doing something like this. Most people.
Well, and for listeners, you text me like right when I announced it and you said, do you got another seat on the boat? And I didn't take that lightly. And I also didn't take that as you being silly or you
Fuck no.
I know that that's something that calls to you too, because for all the same reason it calls to me.
Yeah. And you know this, I know this, but I 100% meant that.
Yeah.
I was sitting there and I listened to you introduce it and, you're talking about it. And I was sitting there in bed, like sat up and was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if he needs a crew.
Yeah.
Right. And you had people checked in and there's lots of dudes, but I'm still like, I'll still hit you up once a month to be like,
any openings?
Yeah.
Well, bro, and here's the other thing too, is that the group of guys that committed to it are all men that I love.
For sure.
Right? They're good human beings. They're powerful. They're good athletes. But I also know that an expedition like this is outside of the norm for most human beings.
And that's where I was getting to with this, for sure.
So if any, and I've already had good conversations where I'm like, hey, a commitment to this means if your girlfriend gets knocked up, you're still going.
Yep.
If your fucking mother passes, you're still going. And I'm not trying to be gruesome or dark, but the world is filled with gruesome, dark things. And I need a team of people that once this is the commitment, that means this is what we're doing no matter what.
Right.
Right.
Well, you said it because the gravity of the situation is real.
Yes.
Right.
But
So you have to set that bar.
But the other side of it is too, is like some of the guys on the team haven't done anything like this before. And if they come to the conclusion like, fuck man, I may be biting off more than I can chew, or maybe it's just once they get past the initial excitement and they say, you know what, dude, based on my family, my kids, whatever, like if you come to the conclusion that doesn't make sense, thank you. Because I don't want people out there that are going to be in the middle of the ocean and now having those fucking like, fuck man, what am I doing?
Yeah.
So like,
And to an extent, you will. Each one of you will battle that to an extent.
But it's just like guys that quit Ranger Indoc.
Right.
I'm not mad at those guys.
No.
If they determine they don't want to be a Ranger, thank you.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing to do is to fake it and be somewhere that you don't want to be.
Right. Absolutely. And most people can't relate necessarily to this because the gravity of the situation is completely different in this
Yes.
circumstance. I would venture a guess that if we went out there and somehow worked a deal with like a CEO to be like, I'm going to put out a challenge, and if your employees don't accomplish it, they're fired. And that's not even life or death. That's literally just your job.
Yeah.
Watch their work performance go through the roof, and they take it seriously, right? And things start to change, and they're like, dude, if I don't do this, right? But there's no repercussion in normal person's daily activities.
No.
And so they just kind of be like, well, someone else will pick it up, or I'll do it next week or whatever. And in this situation that you're doing is the polar opposite.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, you don't prepare. It was 4-man crew. 25% of our crew is now trying to kill us.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. And it
Yeah,
becomes personal.
If one person doesn't show up, that's exactly right.
Right. Because I'm saying you guys are putting the hard work, the effort in. So if you have a 75% crew, that 25 is literally, in my opinion, and how I would fuel myself to prepare for something like this. You're trying to take me from my wife.
Yeah.
You're trying to take me from my kids.
And it sounds
you're trying to take
dramatic, but it's
the truth.
That's the level of importance that you have to put on these types of things.
And the outcome of this venture, when you guys finish at 70 something days and you get to Hawaii, the drastic impact in your lives of not this huge astronomical fanfare, like what the fuck ever.
No,
Whatever happens,
the version of you that you found out there,
dude, life changing. That's exactly why I text you, because I was like, my life would never be the same.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
Like the way that I've been describing it to people is I'm putting myself in a prison, and I'm also giving myself absolute freedom
100%
simultaneously.
Yeah.
And I don't know another way to do that. You know, men find that climbing Mount Everest and stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, there is something about big mountains that are empowering as fuck, dude.
Sure.
I've cried on the summit of Mount Rainier, and I don't even know why. Like, what does this emotion mean? You're just like exhausted, and you have this overwhelming sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And then you take Mount Everest, which is more than 2 Mount Rainiers stacked on top of each other.
Right.
Right. Like I get that drive. I think I'm going to feel a similar thing when we step onto solid land, like you said, after 70 days.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can fucking do anything.
Well, dude, I'm telling you right now, secondhand, I'm going to cry for you.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to make fun of me, go fuck yourself. Dude, when you understand the gravity of what you're talking about, and like the reinventing yourself and that rush of emotion, like 100%, I see it happen on stupid Instagram reels of people I've never met in my life and never will meet, and I start to get emotional.
Yep.
Like, that person just reinvented themselves in positivity.
And it's powerful, bro.
Huge.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine write me, and I would never ask anybody to do this, but I actually think it's pretty cool. He goes, hey, just so you know, because we've been friends a long time, I'm committing to 5K a day on my rower for every day you guys are at sea.
Oh, cool.
So I want you to know I'm rowing with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that could be a cool little fitness challenge just to keep people engaged and give people something to do.
Dude,
you know,
I was actually thinking about that on the way here, and I don't know if you want me to just toss out harebrained ideas from the hip while we're recording.
Toss them out, bro.
Because I was thinking about, I was like, I wonder who's going to take over his podcast. And I was like, I wonder if that would be my way of giving to you, like do little short podcast updates on how you guys were doing and the community here who's supporting you. So put on row events here at the gym, put on jiu-jitsu, post photos, give an update on Greg's team, right? And so keep endlessly endeavoring.
Well, so bro,
while you guys are 70 days in the fucking ocean.
I'll tell you this, my plan, because I outfitted the boat with Starlink and solar panels.
Oh yeah.
My plan is to try and upload a 20-minute episode a week.
Oh, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be called Lessons from the High Seas. Yeah. Right? Most of them are going to be shit that's going on between your ears as opposed to what we're dealing with physically, right?
Dude, I'm so excited for you to figure out the profound nature of the middle of your brain.
Yeah. But let me say this too, because I have a guy, one of the guys who's on the boat, his name's Finn. His father is like an expert in marine electronics and battery systems and draws and all this stuff, right? And he said, we're going to have to park the boat in the field next to the gym and start monitoring how much those lithium batteries can charge. And then we can run your phone off of it, run your this, run your that, run your GPS, run your Starlink. And we're going to have to dial in like, all right, priority number 1 for the power is what? The water maker, obviously, right? And then after that, we have to start allocating power properly. And if it generates enough power to do the podcast, I want to keep doing that.
Sure.
But I'm only going to commit to 20 minutes a week because, bro, dude, it's 2 hours on, 2 hours off for 70 days. So am I going to have any desire to crawl into the cabin and start uploading? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm going to do that to a certain point. I think documenting it and sharing it is going to be an important part of the journey.
Sure.
But I also don't want to overcommit. And so there's a part of me, it's like, we're going to have to figure out how that works. With that being said, if uploading a podcast every week is not feasible, 100% take you up on what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because even if it's as simple as like recording something with your phone, using the Starlink to send it like via WhatsApp or Signal or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you can incorporate, then, you know, we back here, whatever team you establish, can compile it together, put it as part of the, you know, because if you don't have the bandwidth to record and upload and put it in the media file that goes to
exactly right.
That seems like it would probably become arduous.
Well, and the thing with podcast success, I tell this to everybody that is interested in doing a podcast, the number one thing that you can do to build a successful show is consistency.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Because as long as I'm putting out something every Thursday, it doesn't matter what the fuck I'm putting out. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth.
Right.
A certain number of people are going to be drawn to your message. It's going to resonate with them. Our energies are in some type of alignment.
Yeah.
And those people will start to consume this show because it's good for them as well. Right. That's the whole reason we listen to podcasts. I want to grow as a person.
Sure.
The second you start being very intermittent, it's like, oh, fuck, I missed this week. Oh, you know what? It's been 2 weeks. Bro, you go to the bottom of the queue. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality of how this works. Sure. And so that was my number one goal. It's like, I've been doing this for 5 years now. I've never missed a Thursday. Not one, dude, which is kind of crazy, right?
It is.
And the beautiful thing about that is the ability to do solo podcasts that separates you from, as soon as you're comfortable doing that, now you don't have the stress of like, fucking, is a guest booked this week? Is a guest booked next week? But I know as long as I have the consistency and I give people a 20-minute update, it's like, dude, it's 2 months of my life that the podcast may be at a lull. But as long as people are getting updates and hearing from you and hearing some of your perspectives and some of your lessons, that keeps everything rolling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And the listeners will know.
Yeah.
You know, the people who actually support,
the truth be told, it'll probably be my highest download episodes yet. It's like, these motherfuckers.
You sitting there just demoralized, tired, snot stuck in your beard. Like, hey, things are going well.
Well, you want to know what else I plan on doing? And this is very easy to sit here and say this. Mm-hmm. But when you're out there and you're hungry and you're tired and you're dehydrated, like, I want to maintain positivity no matter how dark it gets.
Dude,
no matter how dark it gets, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because it's important to show some of the team. Finn is 21 years old. Ooh, okay. Now he's a Bering Sea crabber. Right. So he knows
the ocean.
He knows some arduous fucking shit.
Right.
Right. And he's also a old soul. Like, I was like, dude, when I was 21, we were not the same. Yeah. Right. But I also know that, like, I've also been through more. I don't know if I don't want to start playing the comparison game because he's a Bering Sea crabber. He's probably been through some shit, right? Yeah. But I've been through a lot of arduous stuff. Been through a lot of combat. I've been through a lot of deployments. And so I feel like it's going to be up to me as the village elder to really play a crucial role in keeping the morale high.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you let anything break your spirit, it becomes a cancer.
It does.
You know?
And that's huge. I mean, and I would agree with you only because I see it in military leadership.
Yes.
When shit really hits the fan, when that calm voice comes over the comms and is like, hey guys, you got to go right. And you're like, everything's going to shit. Yeah, fuck. And someone just like, hey, you should turn right now. And you're like, oh, okay.
Well, bro, and that
brings you back to reality.
That's Jocko. That's Jocko 101.
Yeah.
He's like, I didn't care how bad it was. When I keyed the mic and I had a message to share with my men, it was important that it was clear, calm, and concise.
Yeah.
Because now you're giving them the energy of clear, calm, and concise.
Right.
You fucking, you already at the fucking building number one. Like, now your whole platoon's in a panic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so it's like, even in the face of death, like, bro, like, there could be 40-foot rollers out there.
Yeah, buddy.
This boat is built to roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously you do everything you can to avoid that. You have the parachute anchor out, and you're like, sometimes you throw the parachute anchor, you button down the hatches, like literally.
Yeah.
And you ride it out.
Yeah.
And I row an hour a day, and I watch open ocean rowing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like I'm out there, right?
Yeah.
There's some teams that get beat to shit. And then there's other teams that are like, dude, we're out here for 125 days and we threw our parachute anchor out once.
That's wild.
And so it's like, I guess who knows what's going to happen? That's the whole point of the journey.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And either way, there's different hardships.
Yes.
Right. Because when you're in clear and calm and you're just rowing, it gets so mundane. And I'm assuming a lot here. But
you've also spent a tremendous amount of time out on the open ocean, you know?
A decent, I wasn't a true Navy sailor. Like, I didn't spend a ton as far as, like, there's people who are riding boats longer than my entire career.
Yeah.
But I spent enough out there to understand that when everything's cool and calm and you're sitting there, you can get lulled into these places where your mind becomes the demon.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're thinking about yourself and what am I missing at home? You start to feel sorry for yourself, and all these bad thoughts creep in because there's nothing around you causing you to focus.
Yep.
So then when chaos happens, you're worried about surviving. Nothing else fucking matters.
Yeah.
So either way, I can see it both. Like, you have your ups and your highs and lows on either side. 40-foot rollers, there is not a damn thing in my mind other than, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
You know?
Jack Jarvis is a guy that I had a Zoom with the other week. He holds the record. He rode from London to Florida solo.
I heard about this guy.
Okay, yeah. Then with a team of men, he rode back. Not right away. It was like several years later. He established a team. They rode from New York back to the UK.
And they did that relatively recently.
That was just this last, like they landed in the UK like 2 months ago.
Yeah, okay.
So I watched this journey over the summer. Mm-hmm. One thing that he said, and it got me thinking, because you're talking about like everything's calm, everything's good. And now even the calm can start to be like, now you're battling shit between your ears, right? But he said this to me, and I found it very interesting. He's like, dude, when it's calm and everything's good, do not start deviating from your SOPs.
Yeah.
He's like, you have to be strapped in. Dude, you wear rock climbing harness.
Yeah.
And you're strapped. He goes, sometimes it's fucking flat as glass out, and guys are like, I don't need to be fucking strapped in today. And he goes,
Complacency kills, dude.
and he goes, and then 90 minutes into your shift, the wind picks up, and now a rogue wave hits you. And that can happen. And he goes, it happened to us. It tipped us over. Yeah. And it fucking capsized the boat, dude. And if that happens and you're not strapped in, that's the end of you.
Yeah.
That's it, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, or another thing is the boats are self-rightening boats, right? But the way that works is the air bubbles that are in each end of the cabin is what self-rightens the boat.
Okay.
So he goes, the boat won't sink if those are open and they fill with water, but it's going to be almost impossible to now self-righten it.
Right.
So the hatches are buttoned down, period, always.
Yeah.
That's another rule. You come in, you come out, keep those hatches buttoned down.
Got you.
And it's just like a lot of little things like that. And it's actually, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, these are the SOPs that we're operating under. And if you deviate, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And something about that's exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, kind of going back to Jocko, it's extreme ownership. Mm-hmm. Literally every little detail of your life depends on you saving yourself.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. It seems daunting. And it seems sometimes like, ooh, I don't know if I want that responsibility. Make a mistake and it could probably kill me. But it's kind of, I mean, it's a parallel for life. You could do anything outside today. And you make the wrong choice. You can die, right? There's just more apparent consequences. Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I love the idea.
Well, and also, do I want the rest of my life to be out on the Pacific Ocean, having to arduously fucking like and meticulously implement every single little fucking measure? No, of course not. But it's an experience. That's the whole point of it.
Right. And a lot of veterans will talk about the hard reset and the integration, coming back, from certain deployments or certain events. Like, there's probably going to be factors of your life that you're like, I have to learn to calm down again.
Yeah.
Right. And that's another battle to worry about at a later date. But to reset yourself in a foundation of meticulous effort, like, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, dude.
Right? Tell me a downside of being vigilant.
Well, there are people that think I'm nuts.
Sure.
My mom's one of them. What are you doing, Greg? I was like,
That's a fair mom response.
yeah, but guess what? She said the same thing when I went into the Ranger Regiment.
Dude, my mom cried when I joined.
You know
Navy
what I'm saying?
Soft. Yeah.
And it's funny because I look back on that now. Because at the time, and it was pre 9/11 too. So it's like, come on, dude, fucking chill out. But now as a parent, it's like, fuck, dude. Do I want my kids deploying to the other side of the world?
Yeah.
Of course not.
Yeah.
And it makes me realize, like, fuck, I put that woman through hell, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, but such is life, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Dude, we could fucking just podcast indefinitely. It's already been an hour and a half.
I know. I keep looking over at the time because a part of me is like, dude, we're going to run this too long. And I'm like,
We can run as long as we want.
Yeah.
Fuck, bro, let's dive into your journey of, because we've talked about kind of like the overarching theme of you get out of the military and now you're looking for purpose, you're struggling. But what was the specifics of your journey
So
that really made this last year be like the nightmare or the roller coaster?
the first one that hit me was so when I first joined the military, it was 2013, and before that, any job that I wanted, I put in an application, and almost everyone would interview you, right? But your applications or your resume, sorry, you put in your resume, and it's only like a page long. It's the overarching view, like this is who I am, right? Not a formality per se, but it wasn't like heavily weighted. I get out of the military, my resume is now critical. I was not prepared for that mentally. I didn't understand the importance of the resume. And going through the out processing of the military, they kind of impress it upon you like, hey, your resume matters and this and that. But the struggle I dealt with until recently, there's no standardized format for a resume. So I turn in my first couple resume submissions, it's 1 page. And it immediately comes back, no thanks. But there's no feedback.
Yeah.
Because modern day, everyone complained, and honestly, take this, I mean, your listeners are probably going to chuckle and be like, yeah, but everyone's such bitches about things that, if they came back with positive or constructive criticism, if you will, I'm like, hey, your resume's too short. I really don't know that much about you. You should lengthen it up. Good luck in future endeavors. I'd be like, dude, thank you. But because everyone like, oh, well, you're not hiring me because I'm this race, or you're not because I'm a man or I'm a woman.
Victim mentality.
Yeah, so they're little bitches. And so what it turned into is the answer is no, done.
Yep.
There is no feedback, nothing. I understand why they do that because it keeps them covered, but I wasn't prepared for that. So all I got was a no, and I was like, oh shoot, maybe I wasn't qualified. So I kept turning in the same resume, and then I went to a resume workshop, and they were like, dude, this is garbage. I was like, oh, damn.
I'm offended right now.
Well, I was just kind of like, well, what do you mean? What are they looking for? And he's like, well, what's the job posting? So I hand them a job posting. They're like, oh, you need this, this, and this. So I make this 3-page resume.
So explain, I think that's a cool thing to kind of impart on listeners, because a lot of guys are in your position, either leaving law enforcement or leaving the military.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like the resume is one of those things where it can be too short, or it can very easily become too long.
And this is why it's so complex and why I just got absolutely kicked in the dick with this aspect. Because even though you can highlight yourself, so especially military and law enforcement, how do you quantify or value certain attributes? So recently, the government, especially USA Jobs, they kind of turned a corner, put a roadblock on. It's like, a government resume will be no longer than 2 pages. And I was like, oh, thank you. Finally, some sort of standardization.
Yeah.
Because one of my buddies gave me his resume. It was 6 pages long.
Yeah.
And he works government. He has a great job, works Department of Defense as a civilian. And he's like, dude, your resume is just not what they're looking for. And I was like, okay. So I looked at his, well, now 2 pages. So now I can.
Hey, go plots. Plots. Go place. Place. He's like, dude, I don't want to listen to you.
Yeah.
I always tell people we do real life on the Endless Endeavor. So
oh yeah,
Govin's over here demanding that you pet him. Yeah.
And so yeah, the length was a problem, the context was a problem, and then I started getting a little bit of feedback. So I'd turn it into friends, and that's a huge thing I want to put out to people. If you have a resume and you're looking for a job, and you have like a specific job or a couple jobs you're looking for, always vet through somebody who the closest you can to that industry. This is what people look for, or at least a government employee.
Yeah.
Or some as much if you're not asking for help, your ego standing in your way, and you're only hurting yourself.
Did this workshop? I'm curious if they articulated this, because this is something that I learned when I was in that position. You really diminished your own value because we don't really have this comprehensive understanding of what your skill sets in the military really do transfer to the civilian sector.
And then how do you articulate that to words and then put it in a format in which it makes sense to highlight that attribute? It's very, very difficult. And I don't have all the answers. Like, there's no way I can just explain it. And it's like, everyone's like, oh, and we all get hired. But you have to constantly look at things through the eyes of the person trying to hire you, or the positional, get the help. And you're absolutely right. I diminished my own value through the roof.
Yeah. Well, like I remember when I was writing mine, and I don't remember if I went to a workshop or if I hired someone, but I remember I was working with someone that felt like a professional, and they're like, well, what were your duties when you were a sergeant in the Ranger Regiment? And I was like, well, it was this, I was this, I was the big guns NCOIC. And like, well, what does that mean? Well, I was in charge of all of this. I was in charge of the Mark 19s. I was in charge of the 50 cals. I was in charge of this element of sensitive equipment. Like, what's the value of that equipment?
Right.
And it's like, oh fuck, I don't know. So you start diving into that. It's like, dude, you were just a young E5. Do you realize that you were overseeing and controlling fucking $1 million worth of equipment?
Yeah.
Like,
then that's where I was getting
to you, it's just a normal thing. It's like, dude, no, this is just what I did.
Right.
But in the civilian world, they don't just impart this massive responsibility of these high valuable sensitive items to a 21-year-old kid to oversee and be in charge of.
Right.
And it's like, that's actually something that should be annotated.
Right.
And never would I have thought like, oh, well, because I did this, I should mention that.
Right.
But it starts to build a pattern of responsibility. And that's something that we don't realize because we're in the mix, and that's normal life. And hey, I got assigned this fucking collateral duty, and now that's what I do.
Right.
A lot of other, from the civilian standpoint though, they can derive value from that.
Oh yeah.
And bro, you just said, you got 2 pages to paint the picture of you being the best motherfucker out there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't come from a place of ego. It comes from a place of, oh, this is who I was and this is what I did. And paint that picture to make you look like fucking Captain America.
Yeah.
Right?
Everyone else does it.
Yeah, you're selling yourself.
Exactly.
And plus, I am Captain America, because if you hire me, you're going to get a fucking stud operator, or whatever you want to call it, right? I know that I can show up and add value. So you're not pulling the wool over people's eyes.
No.
You're taking 2 pages to say, hey, I'm a good motherfucker.
Yeah.
And people want, and again, like if they have to read 6 pages to see that you're a good motherfucker, and they got 40 candidates to go through.
Yeah.
All right,
So
they don't want that either.
That leads into number 2. So the first one's the importance of the resume. The second one is that I learned very quickly is I shouldn't say most, but a lot of companies now use AI to screen resumes.
Okay.
Because no one wants to read 40 applicants.
Yeah.
So they screen them through AI. So they take the job posting and they take your resume. And if they don't have enough keywords that match,
Oh, fuck.
a
Dude.
human never even sees your shit. And so
Yeah.
I got a whole bunch of automated messages like, you don't qualify for this job. I'm like, don't qualify. Like, literally, one of them was civilian EOD tech. I'm military master EOD tech. And they're like, you don't qualify. And I was like,
Yeah.
what in the absolute fuck just happened?
Now now you feel personally attacked.
Yeah.
When it's just a fucking
Right.
operating system.
And so if you're not looking at the job posting and using those similar words, same words in some aspects, but describing very closely what this is asking for with how you accomplished it in your previous job, you're screwed. You're never going to get a job.
Okay.
So now I started using AI to help me. And it's the way of the world, right? So I was resistant against AI until this whole job searching thing started happening. And then it really opened my eyes. So I take the job posting, put it in, I use Grok, right? Like
Okay.
I know you use ChatGPT. So you put the resume in there, the resume and the job posting, and then you ask specific functions. Read the job posting, read my resume. Am I qualified for this job based on my resume? How can I improve it? then make modifications, use proper keywords, and and you prompt it to do what it does. It spits out a version. You copy paste that over onto your resume. Then continue prompting and continue asking, like, hey, this line doesn't adequately fill what I want. How do you make this specific line item fit the job posting? And then you can toy with it and tweak it up and down, right? So you still have to go. You can't just say, make my resume fit, copy paste.
Yeah.
Send. No. You still have to use it to tweak it.
And just because you're using AI as a tool to help facilitate your resume getting in front of a human doesn't mean you can fucking lie about shit.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, you still are doing what you're doing.
Right.
And you have the experience you have. And now you figured out a way to articulate that
Correct.
more professionally. Because I'm going to tell you guys, we're all knuckle draggers in our core, right? Because I was the same way, bro. Like, something about AI is kind of like, again, like, is it fucking going to turn into the Terminator and kill us all? And it also feels almost sometimes like it's cheating, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's the way of the world now.
Right.
And if you can fucking use it to benefit you, why not?
Right.
You know?
And I was listening to it was either the most recent or the one before it, the Real AF with Andy Frisella. And he was talking about, like, the same thing happened when the internet came out.
Yeah.
And now we're all like, what do you mean you don't use the internet? Have you ever heard anyone say, like,
Yeah.
well, I don't like using the internet?
I want you to mail me a letter. I don't want an email.
Right. Yeah. Look for my fax. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Bro,
so it's just
faxes is kind of a pet peeve for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's some places that are like, we need a fax with a signature. How about I just scan it and email it to you?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Shit.
But there's still a few, I forget what requires a fax, but every once in a while it's like, hey, you got to send a fax. It's like, dude,
I don't even know
this is it's like a prehistoric thing at this point, right?
Yeah. So you gotta evolve and adapt. And while I was in the military, a lot evolved and I didn't fully adapt. Huge. And then kind of going back, I had a couple jobs lined up getting out. I shouldn't say lined up, prospects for jobs. People being like, dude, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'll find your job within this or this or this. And so I had kind of, going even further back in our conversation, I become a little bit lackadaisical. I just thought, I'll be good. I got this.
Yeah.
Everyone has problems getting out, but I've already got 3 prospects and I haven't even tried. Or good. Dumbass mistake. And I know better than that, but it reaffirmed, piss poor planning. That's what it was. And I got kicked in the dick on the way out. Learned about resumes, learned about using AI. Then comes the modern version of the interview. So because there's a lot of red tape assigned with interview processes, like a lot of them are blind, so they can't see if you're a man or a woman. Obviously when they talk to you, your voice, they'll dictate. And some of these,
that's a new age thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done an interview for a job since 2017.
Right.
So they
Man
purposefully,
or woman is going to come out the moment you speak, but
unless
99.9%.
Yeah.
But they'll do Zoom meetings now. I'm not used to Zoom calls.
Bro, I hate Zoom.
It's horrible.
Don't get me wrong. I don't hate Zoom. I do Zooms with guys every week.
Sure.
But the energy is not
the same.
as authentic as when you're sitting across the table.
100%. So I have a hard time and I lose my train of thought a lot more because I'm staring at a screen.
Yeah.
I'm not looking into someone's eyes and I'm not engaged with that human.
Yep.
I'm engaged with a computer that's talking to me.
Yeah.
And it is different. And people might argue me and be like, hey, that I get better and individual aspects. Cool. For me personally, it's an absolutely retarding factor.
Like, logistically, of course it makes sense. You can connect with people in a much more efficient manner.
Right.
But the connection is different. That's just a truth.
Yep. And so when you go into these meetings, and a lot of them you can't see, they'll turn their cameras off, so they don't see your ethnicity, they don't see what you look like, with this whole blue hair movement or facial piercings or tattoos on this and that. It's neutral.
That's weird, man.
It is.
You'd think they'd. I mean, I always say your first impression is what you fucking look like.
Sure.
And if I walk in being 200 pounds at 5% body fat, or I walk in being 300 pounds at 70% body fat, that tells a tale of my discipline, my work ethic, my priorities.
Right.
And so part of me thinks like, oh, they're doing it under the guise of being fair, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe life's not fair. And the guy that shows up looking like you tells a different story than the 300-pound blue-haired guy.
See, and I don't see it as they're trying to be fair. That's what the guise is.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But the reality is so they can avoid lawsuits.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And that's fine. You know, I don't want someone to sue me either. So fucking whatever.
It's a fucking game we're playing.
Right. But that was 100. That's another ignorant fact that I walked into head first. And I was like, oh shit. So then you're doing these Zoom meetings and you're doing these Zoom interviews. And then the aspects of it, I would say right now are about 50-50. 50% of it are actually like job related skills. Like, hey, so you say, you know, explosives, can you elaborate? You know, or what did you do in the military that relates to this level of leadership? I'm like, okay, I'm fully prepared to speak on that. The other is like these, that they call, there's a, and now I'm blanking on it. I want to call it like RASP. There's like a situation, there's a standardized WASP or something like that. There's like a situational acronym for situation, tasking, outcome, blah, blah, blah. And it's like this generalized format on like, tell me a time when you were struggling with a leader and how you resolved it.
Yeah,
and that seems very easy to, you know, in comprehension of like, okay, I could tell you that. But when you're coming out of the military, you're like, yeah, I had this dipshit junior officer who couldn't keep his mouth shut because he was from the academy. So you call him a ring knocker, right? So now you're struggling with the verbiage.
Yeah.
Right. So you're trying to sound professional and you're like, how do you say I had a young leader who wasn't a leader who I had to groom, and the situations are like, he almost got us all fucking killed.
So here's a pro tip on that.
Yeah.
Because most organizations and agencies they have like a protocol for interviews where they will repeat the question.
No.
If you ask. No, I'm just saying like for listeners that are listening to you say this, like I remember someone told me that. And so like they would ask a question like that. It's like, tell me about a time when you blah, 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 blah. And if literally you could say, could you repeat that question one more time? And then you just dive deep into your brain.
Yeah.
Like
organize, formulate,
thinking about how, and it might only get you 10 seconds, but that 10 seconds changes a lot.
Right. Cause then you don't mumble off the get go.
Yeah.
You're not stumble.
You're not completely shooting from the hip.
Right.
The other thing you can do is, you can understand most organizations are going to ask things that are going to exemplify your leadership capabilities, your problem solving skills,
right,
operating under stress,
right,
teamwork dynamics, like those. So start to brainstorm some specific scenarios before you even turn your computer on or you walk through the door that are built around those aspects of who you are.
Dude, now when I do my Zoom calls or when I'm doing any sort of interview or whatever,
got fucking notes off to the side and
I have a separate screen and I got a Word document that says leadership, explosive, or, I categorize it out based off the job posting and I go through scenarios like, leadership problem that's solved or whatever. And I outline them. So when they're talking, as they're asking the question, I'm like, okay, this is a leadership question. They want to know about, my interaction with a leader or a time I was the leader. So I scroll to that section on my screen, finish listening to the question, talk about this prompt.
Yeah.
Then I use and this is not standardized, but a lot of them say you can ask for the question again one time.
Yes.
So I'll answer the question, and then at the end, and this might be a good thing, it might not be a good thing. And sitting here unemployed, maybe maybe I should shut the fuck up. But me personally, I'm like, okay, I think I answered the question, but when I dive deep into these questions or these answers, sometimes I'm like, did I hit all the points? So I'm like, hey, okay, can you re-ask the question one more time, and then I emphasize just so I can make sure I fully and adequately answered your question.
And then you can
I can put everything I set aside, listen to the full question again, and be like, yes, I feel like I fully, or you know what, I didn't touch on this aspect, and here's the part that da.
Yeah.
Right? And I have got some good feedback on that, but once again, I'm still learning through this whole process.
So what do you think is? How many different positions do you think you've applied for in the last year?
Applied or actually had interviews?
Got to interviews for?
6, maybe 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what is potentially a hang up or what is keeping people from giving you that final offer?
So there's situational. And some of this, is going to sound like, oh, he's making excuses. And maybe it is. Like, I'm not going to argue that. But I know for a fact one of the jobs I was passed up for because there was another employee within it was a county. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But within the county who knew the computer systems that I didn't.
Yeah.
And this was a 20-year employee who knew the computer systems, but I'm a younger employee with way more operational experience for the position field. But because it was an admin heavy job, that person got it.
Yeah.
So it came down to me and him. That person got it. And that felt bad to me because I can learn a computer system.
Yeah.
So I took that as a failure for myself to be like, hey, I can pick up a computer system. Give me a couple weeks. No problem. Right. But he got it because that was more necessity for that position. Even though I felt like I would further that position up and out, you know, actually get people prepared, get people on the same path, streamline, that whole nonsense. Got passed up. Right. So I felt like that was a hang up. Then not being able to actually verbalize what I wanted to say, and like those simple, hey, tell me a time where you had to deal with a leader.
Oh,
and then
you just feel like you got hung up in some shit.
Well, because I didn't take that pregnant pause, or I wasn't at the time, I wasn't prepared with my script. It would come out in almost like and I would kind of like choppy way through it. Because I'm trying not to be like, hey, you can't say I had this dipshit junior officer, going back to that. Or I had this millennial kid who was more worried about painting his toenails than he was of being good at his fucking job, right? And then how does that correlate into what they're asking me, right?
Yeah.
And those were some of my struggles in my later career, you know? So there's a lot of aspects of this that one of them, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, I was very suited for the job. The gentleman who was interviewing me, the other person didn't show up on the call, so there was only one person. He was a retired EOD tech.
Okay.
So I was like, oh.
I'm in.
Yeah. He started asking me questions I haven't thought about in years. I'm like sitting here with my script, and I got all these leadership questions. He's asking me basic EOD questions that I haven't dug into in like 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, fuck. Right? So, hey, let's just keep it chill. You know, in this situation, what would you do? And
would you cut the red wire or the black wire?
Right? You know, but not that, but it's very simple like that. Right? And there's very key verbiage that if I would have just rattled off, I would have looked like a pro. I blew that interview. Mm-hmm. The moment I hung up, I was like, I fucked it up.
Yeah, fucked.
I was done. And this is a retired EOD guy who I was like, oh, you know, that's helping me. I shot myself in the foot, and I knew immediately I'm done. And it wasn't because I wasn't prepared. It was I was preparing so hard in one way that I had switched my brain off the basics. Yeah. And I forgot to refresh on simple shit. And if I would have said certain keywords, like 30 minutes after the interview, I was like, do. Yeah. And I was like, if I would have said that, I'd probably have the job right now.
Well, and another thing, it's like my daughter's 16. She just got her first job and she had her first interview, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I told her, I was like, just remember, you're just going to have a conversation with another human being.
Right.
Like it's very easy to overly stress yourself out with the coulda, shoulda, or like what ifs and all this stuff. It's like, I always used to tell myself there's two things that are important to remember about the interviewing process is that it's just another man or men, it's just another person at a table. Yeah. That's it. And my goal when I walk out of there, regardless if they think I'm incompetent, I suck, like whatever they learn from me from the technical questions is one thing. But when I walk out of that room, I want them to like me as a human being.
Sure.
I think that's key.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, maybe he bombed this or maybe he didn't know that, but that's a good motherfucker. Right. Because being a good motherfucker, bro, I'm telling you.
Nowadays especially.
That's a huge portion of it that is almost outside of the scope of what they can even necessarily like articulate. Like they got these check boxes and maybe you're not meeting the check boxes, but if they know that you're a solid dude, it carries a lot of weight. So I always tell people, make sure when you leave there, they like you. Yeah. You're trying to make that person like you.
For sure.
It's the same thing I tell guys that are fucking going to trial for crimes. When I was a deputy, if I thought they were a good person, I was like, your job is to make the jury like you. Yeah. Period. Yeah. Like, I don't care about like the technical components or the evidence or this and that. If you can get the jury to like you as a human, it's going to carry a lot of weight.
Dude. Yeah, for sure. Could be the difference between a lighter sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, I mean, more factors. There's always so many factors that play into this. And I'm not screaming any sort of victimhood because I've set my, and you get three things when you're looking for a job or in an employment, right? You have location, you have purpose, and then you have a compensation, right? And so if you can nail two of those three, you have a pretty fucking good job. If you nail one of those three, at least you have something and you should keep searching.
Yeah.
0 of 3, that's a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Right? You could go work at McDonald's. Anyone will hire you. If you can get 3 of 3, you should be either an entrepreneur and looking to climb the ladder of that and stay there. And there's a lot of companies that have a heavy 3 of 3, but getting in is going to be harder. So I've taken on some interviews that I'm like, I don't know if I'll get this job. So that when you look at the amount of times I've applied for things, astronomically, I've been kicked in the nuts.
Yeah.
But I've also set the bar pretty high.
What is it ideally for you? Where do you want to end up?
Like as far as one of those three,
does locate? Would you move right now for the right job?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a favoritism.
That opens up a lot of opportunity,
and that has only been more so recently.
Okay.
Because the area we're in my job field specifically, I can find maybe a purposeful and a location, but I don't get the compensation.
Yeah.
Right. And so then those jobs, I have had a couple offers where I've had to sit with my wife and be like, are we willing to take this? One of which it was very heavy. I almost took it. And it was, just for numbers. So people are looking, when I do have my medical retirement stuff coming in, I'm not in a position of desperation, but I am in a position of urgency.
Yeah.
Right. Because I am hanging on, but that's not a lifestyle I want to maintain. And so I was offered a job for $70,000 a year. And I'm like, that's not bad. And a lot of people would take that, but that's not even close to where I had set my bar.
It also depends on the location too.
Right. And that was right down the road. Like it was an hour drive there and an hour drive back, but I wouldn't have to move my house. So there's a lot of weight there, but 2 hours a day in a car sucks.
Yeah.
For $70,000, especially because right now 70 is a good number, but it's not in the ballpark I was looking for. It's a huge pay cut from even military salary.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm kind of like, ouch. The job purpose was there, but there was no opportunity for promotion. It was a one-on-one job.
That was my next question.
And
70K a day, if you can get somewhere after that, okay.
Sure.
But if you're stuck there,
I'm out.
What are we doing?
Right. And with the position, it required some specific training in the area. They were going to put me through a couple schools to make sure I had the qualifications to meet the necessities. And I was actually going to take the job until the hiring manager was like, hey, you have to give me at least 2 years. And I was like, well, I can't promise you that. I'll get my foot in the door and I'll give you everything I have, but I'm going to keep job searching. And she got quiet and I was like, oh,
yeah,
you're putting money into me. I get it, but I'm telling you, this is where I'm at. So
I have to look out for
numero uno.
Numero fucking uno.
Yeah, my family is the most important, right? I will praise God and then I will honor my family. And outside of that, like you're
yeah. Well, you nailed it though. When I'm here, I'm here.
Right.
You'll get fucking varsity effort out of me.
Yeah, but in my free time, I'm gonna be looking for the next.
Yeah.
I don't want to play for the Bengals.
Well, bro, and the thing is, like, 70,000. I honestly think 70,000 was feasible 10 years ago.
It was. Not anymore.
It's a different world now, bro.
Especially Washington.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They were saying it was like $156,000 a year is a comfortable living for a single person.
I just saw a thing well, that makes sense for a single person. I just saw a thing the other day, and I saw it on the internet, so it has to be true.
Sure.
But it said to live comfortably in Washington State as a family. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they said 220 is like.
I was going to say 250. So.
Yeah, okay, so the annual income to be able to be comfortable. And bro, that's that sounds fucking preposterous,
dude. Because
it wasn't that long ago. If you're making $220 a year, you're fucking rich,
dude. When I was in college, I bought my first house for $142,000. Right, that same house is worth $500K right now.
It's insane, bro.
And it's not special. It's in a college town. It's not.
It's the same thing with my house. It's 7 minutes from here. We bought it for $300,000 in 2015. And it's worth probably $750 now.
Yeah.
And at the peak of the real estate, fucking when everything was booming a couple years ago, it was just shy of $1 million.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how the fuck can this house cost 3 times what I paid for it? Because wages haven't increased 3 times.
Right.
Bro, everybody's house poor now. Mm-hmm. That's like that's a normal part of life. I talk to a lot of students here all the time. It's like, bro, my house payment's $4,800 a month. And it's like, dude, $4,800 a month. is a huge commitment.
It's crazy.
You know?
And then people fall into their, I don't want to call it greed per se, but their pursuit of luxury or their pursuit of ease. And so they have these like really nice cars.
Yeah.
Dude, $1,000 a month on a car? What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
It's
You're
ridiculous,
shackling
man.
yourself. You're shackling yourself
Right.
to the system. And that's what they want. Because once they control you with debt,
Yeah.
and that was one of my father's rules. He's like, you should be in debt for nothing other than your house.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not feasible to expect people to pay cash for their houses.
Right.
But you should be paying cash for your cars. You should be paying, and anything else, is it a necessity of life?
Right.
It's like, sure. And you nailed it. It's like everybody wants this like lifestyle of luxury.
Yeah.
But if you're in debt, if you're in any debt, and bro, I'm in debt, right? So like I have debt. I was just talking to you earlier about how I'm going to refinance my house to buy the fucking boat, right?
Yeah.
And most financial coaches will probably be like, that's not a wise decision.
Sure.
I get that, right? But I also see people that are paying a car payment and they're rocking a Louis Vuitton purse.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you feel like, oh, this thing that makes me feel like I am happy that I have this high quality, nice purse.
Yeah.
And it makes me feel good, right? Yeah. Well, that feeling of feeling good is also keeping you fucking stuck and shackled to the system.
100%. And there was actually a lady who went viral who made this huge posting about how her welfare money had been decreased by like 40%. So she's talking about how she got X amount of thousands of dollars per month. And that got reduced down to like $1,200. And now she was going to have to sell her 2024 BMW.
Bro, if you're...
And I was like, you massive idiot.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and to not have the wherewithal, the human condition has ruined people, right? I drove here in my wife's car, but it's an older car, high miles. We bought it like that on purpose. It's paid off. And it's a 2014 BMW, but it's like 200,000 miles, right? So it's paid off. My truck, 2011 F350, we bought it cash.
Yeah.
I have a hand-me-down 97 4Runner that's been paid off for longer than I've been alive, dude.
Yeah.
That's not true, but obviously. Yeah. But, right. And so, and we keep looking at these cars and we're putting money into maintenance, and we look at the flip side of like buying new cars. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just, especially for a depreciating asset. Right. So a car's, you're never going to make money back on a car. Now, vintage cars, specialty cars,
whatever.
okay. Right. But for the average human being, a car is a depreciating asset. So if you buy based off your payment scale, like, hey, not like how much can I afford? That's a logical fallacy. Look at what is a working car worth in my life. If it's my primary needs to get to work, that ups the price.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
But if it's like, well, I get to the store with it, or, this, that, or the other, that should drop the price. And then when you calculate, hey, based off this price, based off interest rates, this is how much I can afford. Find the best car for that value.
Yeah.
And haggle your ass off. Try to find somebody, a private seller, who's like, hey, this is a great car. And it's no disrespect to them, but it's a capitalist market. They're going to want to try to make the most money. You're going to want to try to get the best deal. See what you can do.
Yeah.
Right? And if we approach things like that more so than like, whoa, but this has, a steering wheel heater. Like, bitch, put gloves on. No offense, but like,
But it's also in relation to where you're at financially and what your priorities are.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
And it's like for me, my 4Runner, I was able to pay cash for that.
Yeah.
And I bought a new 4Runner, and it was like $54,000, something crazy, right? Yeah. But I also was like, I hadn't bought a new vehicle since 2005.
Yeah.
And I bought my last car was a 2005, and that was my daily driver until 2020. Yeah. And I now arrived at a point where I could go buy a 4Runner.
Yeah.
And I don't regret that. And even though it is a depreciating asset, what is it worth for your quality of life? Right. Mm-hmm. But you also have to fucking root that decision in reality.
Right.
And it's like, dude, the new Land Cruisers are like $85,000. Right. If you want one of those and you can afford it, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. But like you said, to be strapped for $1,000 a month, bro, you're shackling yourself into that hamster wheel.
100%. And looking at what we're dealing with in Washington State specifically, Like, I'll be the first to say, and I hope that somebody in Olympia listens to me when I tell them that they're fucking idiots. Like, listen, the tax increases based off just all of these things, and Washington the highest. And if you base only thing off gas, because you hear about gas and eggs and milk all the time. Yeah. Okay, but that's a dumbass thing to only base your foundational support on. But when you look at the holistic health of Washington State, it's in the gutter. And we are paying for it in our way of life. Bob even
said, like, during his campaign, which he was just a shoo-in, because that's how these fucking Democrats work here, right?
Yeah.
But he's like, he was running on no new taxes. They always say that, right?
Dude.
And then he's like, well, you know, unfortunately...
Reneged on it.
He completely... But he reneged so blatantly.
Yeah.
I forget how he worded it, but I remember I watched the press conference and he's like, well, unfortunately, once we ran the numbers, we realized that the previous plan wasn't sustainable, so we will be increasing taxes. Just like blatant fuck you. And it's like, dude. So what you're telling me is you lied.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so I'm factoring all these in when I'm looking for jobs, right?
Of course.
And
bro, you have to. Because
yes.
Let's say you do make $100K a year, right? 100K a year used to be a pretty good wage.
Right. But you're in a 22% tax bracket federally.
That's exactly right. Now, not only has inflation offset what 100K a year feels like, but now you're not getting as much of your 100K a year either.
Not even close.
Not even fucking close.
No. I was looking at a job in California, and they have a high state tax.
Yes.
And $150,000 a year was less take home than I made in the military.
Fuck, dude.
And I was like, what? So
I mean, Andy talks about it all the time.
Yeah.
Bro, we are not free.
No.
When they tax you at a 50% rate, we are literally modern day slaves.
Yeah.
Now what can we do?
Right.
I mean, we have two options, kind of in my opinion. Revolt and string these motherfuckers up, or outplay them at their own game.
Yeah. And
maybe both too. Maybe both, right?
Yeah, we need some sleeper cell Republicans in Democratic seats.
Yeah.
And then go in and lie like they did. Be like, no, I'm gonna uphold democratic value. And meanwhile, we quietly vote them in, and then they come in and be like,
hey, or like Fetterman, who had a stroke and became conservative.
Dude, he had a reset button.
He had a stroke, right? Maybe he was a sleeper cell.
Dude, I looked at that, and I'll be the first to admit I was wrong about Fetterman. Not wrong in the sense of like, but it goes back to that same thing with an interview. Your first representation is your visual appearance. And this dude is showing
wearing
up to committee
meetings
in a hoodie.
2 sizes too big.
And I actually applauded him because I lived most of my life in sweatshorts and a t-shirt. And I'm like, that's what I would show up in if I was a politician.
That's
I'm
right.
looking at him, but I'm like, you sloppy fuck.
Yeah.
You know, overweight, looking kind of slouchy. And, you know, obviously he had a stroke. And I'm not faulting him for that, but his appearance was subpar.
Yeah, for sure.
And then running as a Democrat, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm not about this guy. And then to hear that he's the only one who's like, hey, I don't give a shit about your opinion. We need to open the government because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
My fucking man. You know, and I don't have to agree with people left, right, or sideways, or red or blue or all that. But when your government's shut down and everyone's like, no, it's because of, like, when you want to blame one individual, or you want to blame the funding for an ideology that not everyone stands behind and literally cripple the government, you got to be shitting me, man.
Bro, we're in weird times. Yeah. And this was happening to me when I was a deputy with the Marshal Service. They'd be like, hey, we're in a government shutdown.
Yeah.
You're not getting paid until further notice.
Yeah.
But you have to come to work Monday morning.
Right.
I was like, well, hold the fuck on a second. That's illegal by any private company standard.
Yep.
I'm not going to pay you, but you better come to work.
Required.
Or we're going to fire you.
Yeah.
Hold on what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Yeah, but you know what, dude? I want, like, everybody's freaking out about the government shutdown. I hope everything fucking implodes, dude. Like, run everything so fucking inefficiently that shit starts to fall apart, because people won't fight for change until the problem's knocking on their fucking door.
Right. But the problem, and I've battled with this because there's a huge part of me that agrees with you. Like, yeah, I hope it all falls apart, and I hope all these things. But then it's like, it's such a sinister urge deep down to like, okay, do I really hope it all falls apart? Because no matter what, there's innocent collateral damage.
100%, bro.
Right. And I know you feel this deep down. It's just, that's the most logical explanation of what will happen. I just hope that somewhere along the line, there's this huge mental reset that pushes people back to a moral fiber.
Bro, here's the thing, man. And we touched on it earlier when you were talking about how you have to go through hardship to grow, right? We are at a point where the overwhelming majority of our society doesn't know what hardship is.
Right.
And I think that is kind of the foundational catalyst of a lot of the problems we're experiencing. I do not want to see people suffer, right? I don't want to see suffering from anyone.
Right.
I'm a father, bro. I have a family. Like, I want my girls to be safe and secure. I want them to have food in the refrigerator. But the equal and opposite truth is suffering brings out a stronger version of you. Right. Suffering unifies people. Suffering brings people together because what it does is it now puts what's important on the forefront. And it's like, dude.
But the degrees of suffering matter.
Of course.
Right now we're suffering and we're still division.
Yes.
We're still divided.
Yeah.
Right. And people don't view it right now as we're suffering. We're thinking, oh, it's the Republicans' fault, or oh, it's the Democrats' fault.
Well, that's because
it's like we're all suffering, dipshit.
The master propaganda machine is still masterfully being implemented against us.
And the only way I see an actual, because I'm all about like the people standing up and being like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I don't like the idea of us trying to do it right now, because the way people view it right now is like, oh, there'll be this revolt. Like, okay, but do you understand that it's going to be a form of like warfare that's similar to paintball? Red versus blue.
Yeah.
Right. And like, and I'm
no,
not,
bro,
and,
Andy Frisella 101, there's the right timing to drag these government officials out is once left and right can be like, hey, we may have different opinions on things, but the foundation of our problem are these motherfuckers.
And that's the realization that needs to happen before I'm okay with it. 100%.
I agree, dude. I agree.
Because then what? Like, am I walking down the street and I have to fear my life because that person doesn't agree with my version of moral fiber? Like, no, we shouldn't be worried about that. We should be worried about the governmental control and the funding pots and how things are run holistically. And I don't want to get violent towards somebody because they believe that, you know, gas. I don't even know where to go. Like,
any political manner.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm not gonna do, like, have to walk down the street and be like, do I have to shoot you before you shoot me because I don't believe that trans ideology should be in preschool? Right? Like, that's fucked up.
Well, bro, I'll tell you what kind of ruined it for me is because like I've been preaching for a long time, man. I want to figure out a way to unify people.
Right.
Like that should be us as leaders in our community. A way to unify people. And I know that I'm doing it here at the gym. We have a fucking huge team of people that have really come together and they share values and they're striving for fucking becoming a better person. Like I see it every single night.
Yeah.
And there's always been a part of me that's like, how do we start to cross-pollinate with different ideologies, different political positions, different religions? How do we cross-pollinate to where it's like, all right, we may have our differences, but how do we all move the needle towards good together?
Right.
And bro, the Charlie Kirk thing kind of killed it for me for a while.
Yeah.
Because it's like, fuck, man. So many people were celebrating the murder of a father in front of his kids.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know if there's hope for my ideology to ever be able to unify with those people. Because it's like there's so many things. It's one of two things. They're blatantly lying about things,
right?
Or they're so misinformed that they're gonna double down. Like, dude, so many people are like, he was a fascist, he was a racist, he was a misogynist, he was evil, he was hate filled, and it's like, oh, so you've never watched one of his videos, then, right?
Right.
And bro, there's like a local preschool teacher that posted that.
Yeah.
That one of my friends
I saw.
Yeah, her and it's like I wrote that preschool. I was like, this is who
she got fired.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
This is who you're choosing to teach our fucking 5 and 6 year olds.
Right.
Someone that celebrates murder.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you're a 24-year-old fat preschool, and this is what she was. She was a fucking obese, fat fucking bitch who's pushing violent ideology onto 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, dude, I don't know if I can find middle ground with you.
So, and for the sake of complete middle ground argument, there is, and because I tend to agree with you. I try my hardest to restrain myself because I do try to live by Christian values. Not that this is not like, what you're saying is absolutely true. I just try very hard to like, okay, if this side is doing something, like same thing we're talking about with our wives, what did I do in the problem?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So when we look at like the George Floyd case,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why is that? There's a whole bunch of people like, good, he deserved to die. And that was predominantly on the Republican side or conservative side. So when I see these things, I'm like, do I agree with either? Hell no.
Well, bro, I can take ownership on that because I was like, that motherfucker robbed a pregnant woman by putting a fucking gun against her fetus. Fuck you, right?
Right. And he was on drugs when he was arrested and killed.
But you're right, bro. You're right when you say that.
Yeah.
Because you can still look at that situation and say,
he was still a human being.
How could I enter this discussion with more love?
Right.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And bro, some of my favorite people are former fucking heroin addicts that were living on the streets, fucking breaking into cars and shit.
Right.
And there's a part of me, it's like, string those fucking people up. Oh, wait, but if you give them treatment 5 years later, they're some of my best jiu-jitsu athletes. What are we talking about here? Right? You're right. It's nuanced for sure, bro.
It is a very fine-edged sword to walk on because, and I don't even know how to fully describe it, but if I'm sitting here being like, hey, the reason it's so disgusting that Charlie died, there's so many factors that I could quote, but I have to hold the same value on it's still egregious and disgusting that George Floyd died, right? Because he did have a future, maybe. I don't know. I know Charlie did, right? I don't know for a fact, like he has a future no matter what past that point in time. What he was going to do with it, you can never fathom or guess. I shouldn't, fathom is the wrong word. And when you look at the tactics by the police officer kneeling directly on the neck, and people are going to argue, well, he's on drugs, so it affected his respiratory. Like, okay, got you.
Well, bro, optics matter too.
Yeah.
Right? You're right.
Yeah.
Optics matter.
And so until we can take a play out of each other's playbooks and be like, you know what? And I've stood this ground pretty predominantly since that moment because I was looking at, I was trained to put my knee on people's necks too to subdue them, but it was very much so told to me, if you do that long enough, you can asphyxiate them, right? So did that guy do an improper tactic? Yes. Do I believe it was malicious murder? No. Do I believe it was racially motivated? No. Right? So you look at those facts and then you look at the facts of Charlie and was he egregiously murdered? Yes. Right? So both people died. And until both parties can look at it and be like, you know what? Neither of them deserve to die. Death is not the answer. Now, is there extenuating circumstances and factors that you can nuance? Sure. But at the end of the day, we both have to agree on death is bad. And we haven't done that.
You're right.
On either side.
No, you're right, bro. You're speaking truth right now.
Yeah.
You know?
And as much as I want to say, like, well, fuck that guy and this is egregious, I have to come back to human life is precious.
I land on a lot of times like, fuck them, string them up. You know what I mean? Because we have watched this class of people in our society really play a predominant role in the crime, the addiction.
Right.
And I'm not saying fucking like one race over the other or whatever.
Right.
You can go to Seattle right now and I can take you to where there's 100 white people that are strung out on heroin breaking into cars.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a people problem. And sometimes it's hard to sit with compassion when my boat's getting broken into all the time.
Yeah, dude.
And they're breaking into the cars of my customers.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, there's been times when it's like, if I find this motherfucker, he's dead.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that too. I get that too, because what gives you the fucking right? I mean, when they tried to pull the outboards off my boat, meth heads did. I mean, bro, they're fucking E-Tech 150s. I don't even know what they weigh, right? Yeah. So they didn't get anywhere close, but what they did do is break all the linkage.
Yeah, dude.
And it cost me like $6,000 to fix it.
Yeah.
It makes me want to string you up.
Absolutely.
Or have people out on my property all the time stealing shit.
Yep.
And it's like, makes me want to string you up. But the problem is deeper than that. You're right. The problem, why are these people where they're at? Why are they desperate? Why are they fucking stealing?
Yeah.
And that doesn't give them a pass to ask those questions.
For sure.
You know?
No, absolutely. Everyone has the right to feel how they feel.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm the same way as you. When someone messes with my stuff, it gets down like my wife's BMW. The people take the valve stem caps off it. The little BMW valve stem caps.
They have some kind of fucking worth to them or
I have
something?
no idea. I have no fucking clue. They cost me like $17.99 to rebuy them for 4 of them because it's BMW.
Okay.
Right. And it's such a minuscule aspect. Like, okay, just don't, or put normal caps on it or something. But the fact that someone would go out of their way to steal something as minute as the valve stem covers on her car makes me want to be like, I hope I catch him so I can fucking shoot him in that.
100%, bro.
Like, I still feel that way.
We have to, you have to weigh the monetary value of something also, but versus, dude, your respect as a man, right? So perfect scenario. If a guy came up here to my gym and pulled a gun out and said, give me your fucking wallet. And I know that my wallet has $5 in it.
Yeah.
You still ain't getting my wallet.
Yeah.
Because I can't give that to you.
Right.
Because once I give that to you.
That's how we got to this position.
Yeah.
It's perpetual.
Once I give that to you, I have now diminished my value as a man and a protector and a leader.
I would not argue you on this, but I have a different viewpoint. And respectfully, of course, because I hear you, right? And I wouldn't give him my wallet either, but not because of the $5 or the respect for myself, because I can run away from a fight and feel perfectly fine.
For sure.
And I know you can too.
Yeah, for sure.
But the idea that he would then go do that to someone else and shoot them.
The next person may not
and I'm not okay with that.
I say that all the time.
Dude,
the next victim might not be fucking me or you.
Exactly.
Now what?
And so for me, my protector bone is going to be like, hey man, my fight's not with you. It's with whoever the next person is.
Yeah.
Right. And for that, you're done.
I like that. Dude, I like that. Yeah.
I can't do it. So like, I don't care about my wallet. I do. It'll piss me off and I'll bitch about it and I'll get on a podcast and be like, I hope I find you. But deep down in my bones, like I know that my problem is not with that person right now. It's all future aspects of that person's existence.
Well, and bro, that is where I like that you said that because that's reality.
Right.
Right. How many of these people that we have watched, like the girl getting stabbed in the neck on the train or the bus.
Horrific.
Right?
Right.
And then you look at that guy's rap sheet and he's been arrested for 43 felonies.
Dude.
So it ties into exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
Hey, the beef between me and you, the cards will fall where they may, and I'll probably win. But when it's the little blonde girl on the bus that doesn't have any awareness or capability, now what?
Right.
And we're seeing that more and more, dude.
And the sad thing is like you can't prove that in a court of law. So say someone comes up to this gym right here and they're like, give me your wallet. Well, my wallet's full of cards that I can cancel on my phone in 3 seconds. There's not a drop of cash in it.
Yep.
And I'm not going to give it to you anyways because of the principle that in my mind, you're going to stop a girl on the bus. You're going to, take a woman's purse. You're going to steal a man's car. You're going to break into someone's house and scare the piss out of a child while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
Right. Can I prove that? No. But time has taught us that there's a percentage of people that are going to do that and they're perpetual offenders.
Well, bro, there's two energies that keep human beings behaving in a manner that is like congruent with our morals. And it's one of two things. It's your own standards you set for yourself, right? Like you're not going to go rob somebody today because how do I want to articulate this? You're not going out there and committing crimes because of the standards that you set for yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
There are other people, and this is just reality. The only thing that keeps them from not robbing other people is fear of consequences.
Right.
That's reality.
Yeah.
And now those people that are now out there that would be robbing people and killing people, but they're not doing it because of fear of consequences. Maybe at some point in their life, they can turn that page and they can start being a morally driven person, right?
Right.
But the fear of consequences has to be something that is universally accepted in our society.
Correct.
And I think we do, like, everybody can accept if you rape children, we have a fucking problem with you.
Yeah, I have no question.
Like that, I shouldn't say everybody. There's motherfuckers out there that mambla and minor attracted persons.
I just
like,
saw one yesterday that almost made me want to throw up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like that's not universal, but it's probably 99% of people agree we don't fuck with kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And historically speaking, they take it less like compassionately, legalistically on people who like fathers who kill the molesters of their children generally get a greatly reduced sentence.
Well, bro, I was reading about this the other day and it said once societies stop implementing harsh penalties against their most dangerous perpetrators, that is one of the foundational elements of a society starting to collapse.
Sure.
And it never goes the other way.
So is gender confusion.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you can't identify a man versus a woman, what else can you never, like, what foundation do you stand on then?
Well, and again, that's why this is a big propaganda machine against the American people's minds, more than it is that it's like, no, this 13-year-old boy has a right to feel how he wants to. Yeah. They put it out there under the guise
It's 1% rat poison, dude.
of trying to act like we respect people.
Right.
And it's not about respect.
No.
It's about diminishing people's
Confusion.
value. Yep.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know if you're a boy or a girl, which is pretty much the easiest thing to determine, what else don't you know? I mean, what was it? A couple of years ago, they were talking about math. Math is, 2 plus,
racist.
Yeah. And it doesn't, 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4.
Yeah.
That's a fucking.
I think they literally said math is racist.
Yeah. And they said working out is racist.
Did they?
Yeah. You ever seen those?
No.
It's like guys that want to be in shape, that is rooted in white supremacy. And it's like, well, hold on. Black people are typically better athletes.
I was just going to say.
So what does that mean, right?
And I say this, but it's actually become like one of the most racially indiscriminate industries on the planet is professional sports. Because,
well, dude, Charlie Kirk talked about that.
Yeah.
I watched a clip with him, and it's like,
you're going to put a short white guy as your point guard.
And bro, here's the thing. Everybody's coming down on him because he said that they misconstrued his words as saying like he wouldn't be comfortable flying with a black pilot. That's not what he said. What he said is, I'm not comfortable flying with a black pilot that got hired through a DEI hiring process.
Specifically because of his skin color.
Yes.
Not because of his qualifications.
That's right.
Yes.
And so it's like, and then that's the argument he used. He goes, should we have to say that a certain percentage of the NFL has to be white?
Right.
Do we have to say that?
And everyone looks at you like, nah, you're crazy.
That's
that's what you're saying in a different industry.
That's the same fucking thing you're saying.
Yeah. Case study being the helicopter that went down over the Hudson. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was part of the Biden administration, VIP, junior officer, put up, doesn't have the recommended flight hours for this specific thing because they were flying this pattern all the time.
Yep.
Ignored the warnings from her instructor, her second seater, and took out an entire airline.
How do you fuck that up?
Dude.
Like, how do you fuck that up? And it was
proven she was fast-tracked there without the qualifications because she was close to the Biden administration and was a female.
Well, and congratulations, you killed a young woman. Like, is anybody happy about that?
Along with every passenger on the plane, and the crew of the helicopter.
That was bro. That one hurt.
Dude, it was wild.
There's something about every once in a while a tragedy comes across your screen, and sometimes they just hit differently.
Yeah.
And there was something about that one. There was also like a full team. I think they were ice skaters. There's like a team of young people that are like ice skaters, and you see their team and you see them out there doing their stuff, and it's like, fuck, man. Everybody was, so many people just taking in a moment over what? Mm-hmm. That, dude.
Yeah.
Over a fuck up.
Yeah.
And it's like, God, man, how are we not better than that?
Yeah.
Like, especially, it was Newark, right?
Mm-hmm. With the helicopter?
Wasn't it? It was one of those big.
Did I say the Hudson? It was over a river.
Okay, so I think it was. I think they were landing in Newark.
Was it Newark?
Or maybe it was JFK or one of those ones.
A major hub.
But whatever it is, there's no fucking confusion. Like, dude, I worked at SeaTac. Mm-hmm. That was part of my jurisdiction as a police officer. A plane is landing or taking off every 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Try and wrap your head around that, bro.
Yeah.
That's a massive fucking operation.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's actually probably even busier on the East Coast. Those fucking LaGuardia, JFK, Newark, nightmare.
Dude, multiple runways, multiple angles of approach.
How is a fucking Black Hawk pilot not intimately familiar with what those flight patterns look like?
Right.
It's insane, dude.
Yeah. And it all just wraps around, dude. We could go night and day.
I know.
And it's just frustrating. And it goes back to the same thing. Foundationally, we haven't figured out as humans. Mm-hmm. We blame, we look at programs, and it's super easy to get sucked into the 1% of the rat poison and just gobble it up and become a righteous person standing on the soapbox of equality and freedom without the foundational support of what equality and freedom look like.
Do you think America spiraling the drain, or do you think we dig our way out of this mess and come into another phase of prosperity and peace?
So this goes back to my foundational belief in God. Through God, all things are possible. So if God willing, if we are in a place where we need to be taught a lesson, if we haven't figured it out as humans, but this can be the pivotal turning point in our growth back to moral fiber and foundational, if that is what he wants, it will happen. And I know many things will have to happen. And I have no idea what that looks like.
Or how we get there.
No clue.
Bro,
Because right now
mean, it's unity. That's the foundation of it.
right.
But what does unity look like? Unity looks like the right people fighting to be in positions of power and helping people understand the truth and helping understand people move towards peace. But we're nowhere near that.
Because it takes a full-on reset, mental reset of what goes back to the term power, right? You just said it, and it's not that I don't agree with you, but we need to define what power means.
Yeah.
Because our government's like, well, the power to do this. And it's like, look, bitch, you're supposed to be doing your job out of devotion to your country. You shouldn't want to be in the seat you're in. So if you look at our Constitution, the founding members were farmers.
Yeah.
They just, George Washington was forced into presidency, because he was a good leader.
And he wanted to go back to the plow, bro.
Yeah. He just wanted to live his life in true freedom because he came from, British control. He lost this shit. And I'm learning this. There's a huge documentaries and a whole bunch of stuff that if you look into George Washington.
What's the do you know the documentary?
I'll have to send it to you privately because I'm just not on top of my head. But my brother was talking about it. And he lost a bunch of battles over there. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, obviously not agrees, comes over to the colonies, stays on the East Coast, fights for us. And he wasn't that successful here, right? In battling the English rule. Mm-hmm. But he was pivotal as a leader. And that is why everyone turned to him. Not because of a win-loss record, because the quality of man that he was.
Well, bro, and that's something that our side needs to understand. In my opinion, Trump is failing this nation right now.
I'll give you a huge percentage of agreements. I'm not holistically agreeing, but I think that we are not receiving what we voted for.
Well, and we could talk about the specifics, sure. Where are the Epstein files? Where's this? Where's that? I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about, bro, all he does, you see it every day. He continuously fuels the division.
Yeah.
Then
comes the argument, how do you not fuel the division when we're talking about pedophilia in our schools?
Yeah, no, for sure.
There
I
is
agree
no
that.
division there. The answer is no.
But I was thinking,
so how do you convey that as a president and a leader?
I was thinking about this the other day because of everybody fucking the No Kings, the No Kings protests, right?
Yeah.
And he posts this thing wearing a crown.
Saw that.
And dropping shit on those people.
Dude, I turned to my wife and I was that motherfucker.
I said, bro, I saw that and I was like, dude, you don't understand leadership.
Yeah.
You need to understand leadership. Yeah. Because he's used to being at the top of the food chain his whole life, right? Yeah. Dude, it would not be that hard to be able to, bro, if I was the president and people were doing that, I would literally get with my Secret Service and I'd be like, hey, figure out a way to secure this city block or whatever you need to do. Because I'm going down to the protests and I'm going to start talking to people face to face.
Yeah.
And I want you to see hey, maybe all of my policies you're not in alignment with. Maybe you think the tariffs, whatever the case is that you're not happy with. Mm-hmm. I want you to understand I'm trying to dig this country out of a hole and it may be painful up front. But go be a human. Go be a fucking human.
I agree.
I don't know.
But there's a huge aspect. And if we look at, because the president is the commander in chief, right? So from a militaristic standpoint, when has the president ever directly addressed a small group of military members? Right. So I think there's a huge failure in chain of command. Mm-hmm. And I agree that if the president went down and was like, talk to me, not only would it end poorly because of the state of the mentality of the people on the street, it wouldn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
But I also feel that the failure is in between us and the president, as well as that top position of power. So I should be able to look at Olympia as a Washington resident and be like, hey guys, what are we doing here? Let's talk about this. And they should be able to have that discussion with me. And they're not.
They're not.
Or they're looking at me and being like, well, as an elected official, I'm raising the taxes because that's what's good for the state. And I'm like, why? And there's no answer.
Yeah.
Right. Well, because we have to, so you were perpetuating mistakes over and over with no explanation. I should be able to look at my leadership and say, hey, what are we doing? And if President Trump, is not conveying that down through the political powers, then the whole system is bucked. And I do think that is completely true, because states operating independently, California having a fund to block our president, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Dude, it's nuts, man.
And when we look at it, like, and I need to do more research because I might shoot myself in the foot here, but predominantly red states like Florida and Texas, was there ever any talks about like, hey, we are not going to listen to Biden? Right now, there were certain things that they pointed out where they were like, hey, when FEMA comes down and does this, and they were like, well, FEMA's going to take charge. And it's like, well, actually, the state has the authority to be in charge over disasters and things like that.
I do remember Governor Abbott having a fight with him about closing the border down. And they were saying, you're going to leave the border open. And he said, I'm going to close it, right?
So,
but fuck, dude, like, where's the common sense there?
And that's the struggle, right? So when we have pots of money that are actively oppressing one president, did I contribute to the problem based off this, the other flip side, the conservative side? Was I like, fuck yeah, shut the border? Is that unconstitutional? Right. And I don't know the exact answer to that. I don't feel like it is, but I don't know holistically. Does the president have authority? Because right now, what Trump is doing, he does have the authority to do it. He's not breaking constitutional law. Right. So I might not be happy with him.
And that's the thing. The no kings thing, it's like I saw Andy Frisella's post this the other day. They said Trump's entire time in government as it sits right now is what, 5.5 years?
Right.
Entire time in government.
Yeah, I saw this too.
Mitch McConnell's is 45.
Yeah. Pelosi's
38.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh, you got all these motherfuckers that are swamp rats that have lived in government their entire fucking lives.
So term limits would help me restore faith in governmental control.
100%, dude.
So that is one of those aspects that I think we can approve, and that we can't elect people who want to do that. And it's so, because then if it becomes like, we're going to cut taxes and then, we increase them. So if someone runs on, I'm going to create term limits and then never does it, that's a risk we're taking. But we have to exhaust our democratic republic right to try.
Yeah.
We have to exhaust that before we just resort to picking up arms.
There's a part of me that just is like, you got too many people with too many opinions to ever bring it all together.
So
and then that's not me being like doomsday fucking. There's a part of me. It's like, dude, if you think being an obese bitch that wants to cut kids' dicks off is where you want the country to go, and I want to teach little boys to be fit and strong and powerful and stand up for the women in their lives, like, is there a middle ground where we'll ever find peace? And it's like, again, it depends on what day you catch me on, right? Because I don't know.
Well, and in that example, the answer is no.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because there is no life that I'm going to live where I'm okay with a small child mutilating their genitalia. There's not a single life.
And it's like, bro, if you would have taken these talking points to the presidential debate where it was Bill Clinton and Bush Sr., they would be in 100% alignment.
Yeah.
Of course we're not cutting off kids' dicks.
Right. Well, the crazy thing is the media has spun. There's a lot of things that in alignment were with Obama and Trump.
100%.
Border control.
Deportation is one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's overlooked because they're like, nah, it's Trump. Trump's king. And it's like, well, look, motherfucker, deportation has been a foundational aspect of our national security forever.
Yeah.
Right. And just the way it's going about, and like, you can't mask yourself. It's like, well, quit shooting us. Quit interfering with legal proceedings.
Yeah.
And then people are making the claims where you're only deport. And there are a small percentage of collateral damage of innocent, we'll call them illegal innocents, which is not true, of non-harmful illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Who are getting deported. And that does suck, because I do believe in the melting pot of the United States.
I know.
But illegal is illegal. And if we're doing 99%, getting rid of criminals and people who are causing ruckus and doing, like, I am truly very sorry for that 1%.
Yeah.
And I hope you reapply and find a legal way back into this system.
Bro, I've helped families get here from Iraq.
Yeah.
Helping them file asylum paperwork.
Yeah, dude. I mean, Chad. Chad did.
Oh
Chad
yeah,
Robichaud?
yeah, dude. I hung out with Aziz.
I know, yeah,
I went
yeah.
and kicked it with Aziz and him for
Yeah,
a
I know
week,
you-
bro.
yeah.
And it's like, I also, like you, want to see good people being able to come to this country and start a life, because that's what all of our ancestors
Without
did,
sacrificing our
you know?
national security.
I also know people primarily through jiu-jitsu and MMA, because like there's a big Brazilian culture where people will come here with a work visa, and once it expires, they're like, fuck that, I'm staying here, right?
Yeah.
And there's people I consider friends that have done that.
Yeah.
Do I want to see their doors get kicked in and have them deported? I don't.
Right.
Right. But the other side of the coin is where do we draw the line, right?
Yeah.
And this is where the waters get muddy, because from what I understand, and I have lots of friends in the world of law enforcement still, from what I understand is they are only going after illegal immigrants that have a criminal charge.
Correct.
That's what I've been told by people that are out on the street doing it, right?
Same. Yeah.
Then you see the video of they're like going after 70-year-old women that have been here for 40 years because of some glitch in the system. And now it's like, is that the real story, or is that just another piece of propaganda
Right.
to manipulate our brains? Because I think we can all agree, if you're 70 and you've been here since you were 30, okay, what are we really doing here?
Yeah.
Right? Like it starts to operate outside of the realm of reasonableness. But that's the whole fucking thing, is that it's so convoluted. What the left believes is we're separating families and we're throwing out everybody that's brown.
Yeah.
Right? And what the right believes is we're only going after rapists and murderers that are here. And it's like, fuck, man, we're not operating in the same realm of reality. So how do we ever come to any type of compromise?
Right. And it's a collateral damage of both is happening. It has to be.
Yeah.
It's the same concept that we went through when people were calling anybody over in CENTCOM baby killers. Did small children die? Yeah.
Yeah.
Did women die? Yeah. Did innocent people die? Even men, even military age males who had nothing to do with the conflict? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. But, you know, that is, tell me a perfect system in any capacity. Any business that's run perfect, bullshit. Any company, any personal life, like if you tell me, like, other than Jesus Christ,
Bro,
everything's broken,
I was
brother.
gonna say, humans are flawed, so everything we do
Is flawed.
has a flaw.
It's inherently sinful and flawed. It just is what it is. And that might be the root of the conclusion we need to come to.
bro,
is we need to do the best that we can without turning on each other.
That's where I feel like fucking Jekyll and Hyde sometimes, because there's times when I'm called to, like, dude, unify. It's your mission. It's your mission as a leader. It's a mission of someone that has a voice that people listen to. Unify. And then there's other times it's like, bro, you're already 45. This is your life. Like, what percentage of your life do you chase growing your family's, like, connectivity, growing your community's connection, building wealth, building love, and like focusing on what is inside of the circle that I occupy.
So this goes back to being, it's a parallel of being the foundational rock within your marriage. It's being the foundational rock as a human being, as a man. And there's aspects I think you have to play of both.
I think
And
so.
it's so crazy difficult. And I can't tell you the line. I'm not going to sit here and preach and be like, this is how I do things. It's
Yeah.
like, no, bullshit. I want to grab my gun every day and be like, all right, let's
go,
I actually
motherfuckers.
almost wore a shirt today just out of principle. It's a Mickey Mouse shirt and it says, kill your local pedophile. Yeah. It's got Mickey Mouse with an AR, dude.
Yeah.
And there's days I want to put that on and just walk around and find conflict. But the point being is, how do we operate within our realms as a just human being without ever putting our sword down?
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. And I would love to give biblical principles about this, that, or the other, but reality comes down to, what does that mean in our lives? I hope that people use biblical principles, because I don't see any sort of flaw in that methodology. It's the application of the methodology to make sure you're doing it justly. Do I think pedophiles should have all these rights and like, yeah, go talk to children. Fuck no, dude.
Nah.
Yeah, you make one mistake and die. You don't mess with children.
Hey, you're a fucking 300-pound fat fucking dude that wants to put a bikini on, a wig, and read bedtime stories to kids.
Yeah.
And that's now something that people want to think is acceptable, right?
Right.
But here's the thing, bro.
So, but if that person checks themselves into a mental hospital, is actively seeking help to
100%.
then
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. Like, okay, you have an inherent flaw in your brain, and you're working on it. I will give you every aspect, every ounce of ability to come out of this okay, because your life is valuable. You betray that, your life is no longer valuable.
Yes. You know, the decisions that I struggle with the most is, how do I use my time and my powers and my skills to move the needle towards good?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like isolating a little more and pouring into my community that's right here.
Yeah.
Feels like more of the right thing to do, and trying to live in peace and happiness and chase health, fitness, capabilities, relationships, nurturing your family, like all these things, they feel like the right thing to do, right?
Yes.
And part of me believes by doing that, I am showing the rest of the world
I agree.
how we become stronger. I am using my ability as a leader to show people like, hey, this is the path. Because if everybody would do that, now these different groups of people would start to have overlap, and the connection would now become citywide, statewide, county. It becomes a thing, right?
Yes.
And then the other side of me is like, well, no, like part of being a leader is actively keeping important things in the spotlight, having hard discussions. And I look at Andy, bro, like I've been friends with Andy for a long time.
Yeah.
Bro, Andy goes hard every single day of his life.
Yeah.
Fighting against what he perceives as injustices.
For sure.
And it's like, that's a burden to carry.
Yeah.
That is.
Oh yeah.
Is that a burden I want to carry? I don't think so.
You already are.
To a degree, for sure.
But when we start comparing ourselves about effectiveness, so
No, but what I mean by that is we are ultimately in control of our destiny.
sure,
To a certain, like, I believe that we have a lot of abilities.
free will, brother.
Free will.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have to take that free will, and what's the best way to direct it to try and move the country towards good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly trying. But is there a better way? I'm not sure, man.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And that's something I struggle with, because it's
As
like,
long as you're giving yourself due credit.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, like, you just closed down your children's jujitsu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's maxed out. And everybody in here comes in and does hard work. They grow better.
Yes.
They're great. They're gaining so much life skills. How many members do you have? Do you know?
300.
300.
It's just under 300. It's like probably 290 something.
How many people do you know that reach 300 people on a daily basis or a regular basis and implement those same
Yeah,
fundamentals?
no, for sure. I hear that, and I actually have a lot of pride, and I am proud of myself.
Yeah.
For what I'm doing.
Should
here.
be.
How much more? Like a perfect example is I have intentionally stopped having any type of controversial things on Instagram.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
On the podcast, I talk about real shit because this is a real conversation.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, we have talked about fucking cutting kids' dicks off because
People do
that's
it.
a thing that we should probably have a discussion about.
Yeah.
But I don't want my life to be consumed
Yeah.
by the negative aspects of our society that I might not have the power to reach out and stop directly.
Yeah.
How do we reach out and stop that? Is by actually going this direction and teaching people how to be proud of themselves.
Yeah.
How to have fucking courage.
Yeah.
How to be able, bro, one of the things I talk about that's a superpower, little kids start crying. Kids cry on them out all the time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they get physically hurt, but more often than not, it's an emotional response. It's
sure.
a fear response.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you talked about, having that guy on top of me and I can't breathe.
Yeah.
When you're 6, it's like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
you know? And I'll always, anytime a kid's crying, I'll kneel down, I'll do a box breathing exercise with them.
Sure.
I say, hey, 4 in, hold at the top, 4 out, hold at the bottom. And I'm going to count with you and I'm going to do it with you.
Yeah.
And usually after 2 cycles of that, they're like, okay, I can get back in.
Sure.
It's like, bro, you can change your physiology. You can change your emotional state very, very quickly if you're being guided and led by people that understand these processes.
Sure.
So, dude, I know that we're creating a tremendous amount of value here.
So what is a box breathing exercise that we can try to implement to a nation?
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You just nailed it. That's it. What can we do to bring people's nervous systems back down to baseline?
Yeah.
Because everybody's triggered.
Yep.
And like, I get, bro, I really like that you said that, because I'll be pondering on this because jujitsu is conflict. Jiu-jitsu is chaos.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is problem solving.
Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu is anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's how do you fight through that and come to a conclusion where you can be successful. That's kind of jiu-jitsu. That's why it's becoming so powerful, because that's the truth of it.
Yeah.
It's not about who you can strangle and who strangles you. It's all of those lessons. We have an entire generation of kids that are stuck in that anxious, anxiety-ridden spot in their lives that they can't seem to step outside of.
Yeah. And it's a lot of, like you've been talking about, they feel like they don't have the tools, or they don't know they have the tools.
Yeah. And in a reality of this world is you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So they may be out there and they hate Trump and they're happy Charlie Kirk got killed because he's a fascist and he's like Hitler. We don't need people like Hitler, right? Yeah. So it's like, bro, in their brains and their minds, they feel like they're as righteous as we are.
Right.
So how do we fucking bring it together, dude? Box breathing exercise for a nation.
Yeah. And I don't know.
Bro, what if it's literally that? Hey,
a national broadcast.
5 million people tune in on live fucking television.
Well,
bro, imagine that.
So I've been hoping, and I know this is a far-fetched example in just application and reality, and I see Christianity growing, but to me, God is a box breathing exercise.
Yeah.
When I'm pissed off, when I'm reaching, like metaphorically reaching for my gun, and I want to go up in arms about something that's pissing me off, if I have the peace of mind to think about God, to think about Jesus, to like center my heart around other aspects, I'm not saying that I reach for peace every time. I'm saying that it gives me a perspective that I can stop and be like, okay, am I overreacting? Am I being emotional? Am I doing this purely out of human need, my own human desire? Or am I standing up for the greater good? Am I doing a righteous effort in this moment? It is a breathing. It's recentering my focus. Yeah. And like I said, I'm not always saying, no, don't reach for violence. There is a time and place for violence.
You're just having an awareness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's that breathing exercise to bring you back down into a calm state of mind to make a conscious decision. Emotions make conscious decisions impossible. Yeah. Right. And unless you hear those calm voice over your comms, right? God reaches into my comms, is like, Jeff, brother, you need to turn. You're not in the place you should be. And I'm like, ooh, right? Someone cuts me off on the road. I'm like, dude,
fuck you.
Yeah, pit maneuver this bitch and put 2 in his head. Right? Because I'm still a broken, angry gorilla deep down. But I have to rein it back in. And for me, that box breathing exercise is my faith. And I can't say that everyone has to do this, but I hope that people try to reach into spiritual aspects, and I hope that they turn to God and they find hope and love and the ability to make these conscious decisions. And if it's not in God, obviously my view is, well, God will work with you in a different way. You can call it whatever you want. Yeah. In my opinion, it's still God. And that's just me. But, I don't want to put a guideline where like, hey, you have to turn to Christianity or you're not going to figure it out. Like that's stupid. No,
because that's dumb, that starts to now
over-empower,
put you in that same category of people that we hate. Yeah. Because they want everything to be their way.
Yeah. And it's not true.
Yeah.
I believe in, my faith. And do I feel people will find power in it as well? Yes. That looks different to everybody else. Right. And I believe why do people know what is right and wrong? Why? Right.
Yeah. That inherent knowing.
And inherent is the key phrase there. Yeah. Right. So when people are
do the right thing,
and that's when you're a child and you do something and then all of a sudden you look at your parent and you like dip your head and you don't look them in the eyes, you're too young to truly understand why, but
yeah, it's a no
why. Right. And so when people are saying, what's the difference between right and wrong? And we've developed laws based off our understanding of right and wrong. So those laws are congruent relatively, they're changing now because right and wrong is becoming misconstrued.
It's becoming subjective.
Right. But deep down, foundationally within our soul, we know what is right and wrong.
Yeah.
That's God, in my opinion. Right. And if you want to argue, that's fine. But I've never heard a rebuttal against that makes any sort of sense. Right. So
I think that's a very reasonable conclusion to come to, because right versus wrong has to be about something that's bigger
yes.
than yourself.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise you could just walk into a village and slit people's throats and take their food, and it's like, well, it's helping me and my family live, so
Correct.
fuck you.
Right. And that's why
something should feel wrong about that.
One of the most evil statements I've ever heard, and it was said a lot for a long time, so I'm almost hesitant to bring it up because I haven't heard it in a while.
Kill them all and let God sort them out.
Nope.
Okay. You're like, actually, I like that one. No.
That's my truth.
Okay.
When people say, well, that's my truth, think about the negative implications of that statement. If I walk outside and someone's like, dude, that's such a nice truck, I deserve that. Shoot the owner, take it. And you can't prosecute me under law because, well, I'm righteous. That was my truth. My truth is I should own this truck. I deserve it more than him.
Yeah.
Right. So pure evil. And when people are like, well, I believe that these types of people with these beliefs are right because this, and it's like, well, and I'm like, well, no, but factually and foundationally and what people believe in their souls, and like, that's not congruent with what you're saying. And their argument is, oh, well, that's my truth.
Yeah.
So there is no dialogue.
Yeah. I'm not sure where I land on that one. Because I've heard people that hate that phrase. Mm-hmm. And bro, I'm on episode 280. I've probably said it on the air. So someone will find it and send it to you and be like, hey, fucking Greg said that, right?
Sure.
This is what I want to think about. Like, have you seen the call to prayers going out in, I think it's in different cities in Michigan?
Oh, for the Islamic.
Yeah. And, there are people that are furious about it. Like, dude, I don't want to hear call to prayer in my neighborhoods because I'm not a Muslim. Mm-hmm. I'm a Christian. I don't want that in my life. That's their truth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then the people that do practice Islam that want to abide by the guidelines of praying 5 times a day, it's also their truth, right?
Sure.
So it's kind of like, fuck,
so
man.
Religion is where it becomes very mixed bag on that opinion.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not going to sit here and tell someone who believes in their form of religion, like, you're wrong. I don't believe in that. I believe that mine is the truth.
I think the speakers should be shot out of the mosque. and I have friends that are Muslim. Like, dude, I'm not.
And that's my point. That was one of the hardest things, like around the Jesus and elk meet, when I'm like, hey, well, this guy that we were working with hand in hand, fighting the same version of evil, the same evil, and he believes in Allah, and he's read the Quran, and he believes that, and I'm a Christian, and go through that whole dialogue, and why is he not saved? Why is he quote unquote evil, or why, so I've had those thoughts, and I'm not sitting here saying, and there's a small part of me that's like, okay, if they're setting up, look, think of every major city in the United States. There's a little China.
Yeah, of course.
We've never been like, hey, fuck you, get out of here. We're like, damn, they got good food.
Yeah, no,
right?
hell yeah.
Right.
Like,
and so when
you go to fucking Koreatown in LA to get
it's
fucking.
It's the purpose behind the movement.
Yeah,
so
that's what it is.
When you have mosques in the U.S. and do I have a hesitation? Yes. Do I think it's evil? No. Like, once again, so if you want to call it your truth, in that scenario, I'll kind of look at it and be like, you know what? I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to argue with you on that. Do I agree? No, but I'm not going to fight you either. Right. But when you get put into a position where then you can use that to suppress other religions or push people out of their homes, go fuck yourself. Right.
Bro, that's kind of a weird one for me because there is supposed to be separation of church and state. Mm-hmm. And I do think that that's an important part. I do.
But there's a blending.
But also America was founded on traditionally Christian values.
Yes.
So there's some fucking muddy waters. Maybe that's what we're going to call this episode.
Our currency says, in God we trust, on the currency. Right. So people who say there's a complete separation, that's not true.
No, of course not.
Right. And then there's things that I have to grapple with. Like when I get frustrated, like, okay, why are we doing whether it's religious or foreign cultures or whatever in the United States, travel to almost any other nation, land at their airport. How many languages do you see on the signs?
Yeah, you see
2.
fucking, yep.
There's their local language and English. Okay. So when people are like, oh, you can't have this in the US, it's like, okay, you're being super hypocritical because you're not well-versed in culture. You're not traveled. Like if you actually got outside of your fucking box and walked around for a little while, you'd understand that there is value in understanding other cultures and accepting those, right? But there is a value. Like if I go over there and I'm like, if I go to any other country and just say, hey, I'm taking over your government because you guys are fucked up. I'm gonna get killed, dude. Yeah, right, right. And
unless you got George Bush behind you,
yeah. Unless there's oil in your ground.
We were really good at that for a while.
Yeah. No, I hear you, but
we're here for freedom,
right? And so, if we really want to call balls and strikes, like I like that Andy does that, which is why one of the only podcasts that I religiously watch, like over and over and over, is Real AF.
Yeah, and
I like it because he does call balls and strikes, and it forces me to think about the things that I'm saying, what's coming out of my mouth. So when I'm sitting here saying like, oh, I don't want mosques in the U.S., well, that's not fair. That's not what this company
100%. No, I think about that too.
Country's founded on, but there is a line in the sand, and that's where that line needs to become important, because I'm not going to change everything. Like you don't change a country. I keep saying company, and it kind of is now.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, but you don't change one country to become another country. If you want to abide by I don't know, Islamic law, go move to an Islamic country. I'm all about it, dude. Go for it. Right.
No, something just feels off about, and bro, I've listened to Call to Prayer probably more than everybody listening to this podcast combined, right? Like, dude, I lived in Iraq for years and years. I don't really want to listen to that in my hometown. I'll tell you, I don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, is it anything against Islam? I don't give a fuck what people do, but I don't think I would want, if someone built a mosque across the street from my house and tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., I have to, it's like, dude, fuck you. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
But that's also because now you're pushing your beliefs on, you're subjecting me to how you want to live on me.
Sure.
I think we should all have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Just like there's probably plenty of people that wouldn't want you having a bullhorn standing at the sidewalk at the end of their house at 5 a.m. Preaching the word of Christ.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And I do have a problem with that. And this is probably unpopular opinion, because the Bible does call us to spread the good word of God, right? But I do think there's absolutely inappropriate ways that disrupt people's lives. And it's not the actual sharing of the word that's the problem. It's the implementation of how you're doing
the mechanism in which
you
they're
really
doing
think
it.
that you're bringing people to Christ by blowing in their face, like, come to Christ or you're dead. You're going to eternity to fire. And you're like, dude, like there was an incident at the Mariners game during the playoffs when they're in Seattle. Guy standing there preaching his version. You know, I don't know what he was saying specifically, but he was, the report says he was preaching Christian ideology, and people tore up his sign and threw his stuff off the street, and we're like, this is a Mariners game. And I'm like, damn, dude, that sucks. But also, like, what are you doing, man?
I hear that
you
too,
know,
man.
It's kind of, you know, I want everyone to hear God's word, but and in my youth, if you were to come at me and been like, God is your only salvation, I'd be like, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Like, get out of my face, man. But now,
how many people have converted to Jehovah's Witness because of the annoying knock on their door?
I don't know.
I think it's
I've
still,
never met anybody.
I still think it's at 0. you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like,
but here's the thing that they're trying to accomplish. Everyone knows what a Jehovah's Witness is.
Yeah.
Right.
Just nobody's buying off on it.
Yeah.
No, but there's something to be said for that. It's like, okay, we may have the legal and moral authority to be able to knock on your door and say this. But if everybody thinks you're fucking nuts and annoying, maybe we should like regroup and reorganize and figure out a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And with the community service aspects, the being leaders in your community, those types of things, and then when people ask like, hey, why do you do this? Because I believe in God. That is the perfect way to deliver God's message. You be a shining example of what a Christian man, woman, whatever you are, looks like. And then when you get the opportunity to spread his word,
that should be the case for everything.
I agree. Yeah.
Like, how do you represent being a black belt? How do you represent being a Christian? How do you represent being a husband? It's not the words that you say. No. It's the fucking actions.
Yes.
That you conduct.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And there's so much. Yeah. And I know we're getting,
dude,
we're up on 3 hours.
Yeah, we're at 3 hours.
People's ears are bleeding.
You know what though? Like some people are like, dude, the podcasts are so long. Well, that's why there's a pause button.
Yeah, dude. I come back to them all the time.
You know, so it's all good. But we are going to wrap it up at 3 hours. Okay. And so my wolf is ready to go take a potty break probably. Yeah. Dude, just wrap it up. What do you want to leave people with?
Man, and, we touched on transitioning out of the military, but it's not about leaving the military or the service. It's about finding a new way forward. And what I've learned, like I didn't really get to dive into depth, not because whatever aspect, we just went for it. But I really encourage everyone out there, like everybody's having a hard time, and to think you're alone is completely wrong. Very successful people have very hard times, and we look at them like, oh, you're worth millions. Like we're not realizing they're still human.
Yeah.
And so everyone out there is having really hard times right now, fighting their belief one way or another, surviving financially, providing lives for their kids. How do you educate the next generation? All these factors. And I want people to start talking, and I want people to start understanding. And I believe I obviously believe that you can find a lot of strength in going to your church, learning about God, learning about Jesus, accepting that into your heart will take you a long ways. But if that's not for you, just go talk to your neighbor, because there's such a huge bond between human beings that we're negating right now. And it crashed in COVID.
Yeah.
So everyone out there listening, if you feel it in your heart as something that you're physically capable of doing, and you don't know a neighbor, or you don't know the person on the street, or be kind to somebody at the supermarket, or do something that was kind of outside your norm towards bringing people together. Because it does start like you have your community here and you're looking big picture. And that's super hard to do. Every single human can do one thing throughout their day to bring other people together.
Yeah.
And we all need to be capable of defending ourselves and being vigilant. Health is huge. Mental health is huge. All these aspects to have everything strung out. But at the end of the day, we should never use it. We should be prepared for it, but it should come down to being like, well, we're together in this fight.
Yeah.
And we're losing that battle.
Agreed,
so
bro.
If there's, just go meet somebody, go say hi, try to empathize with a homeless person, even if they're a drug addict, just try, and your neighbor who's blue and you're red, go just try. If you get told to fuck off, like just have it in your heart that you gave it a good, honest effort, and try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And because when we quit trying, and not to preach Charlie Kirk, but I do believe a lot of 99% of what he said, that 1% is just the unknown that I haven't heard him say.
Yeah.
But he talked about when we stop talking to each other is when war starts.
It's when everything falls apart.
If you don't know war, you're quick to want to go to war.
Bro.
If you know war, you should shut the fuck up and try to talk to your neighbor.
Yeah. No, I think that's potentially why he was taken out.
Yeah.
Because he was bridging the gaps.
Yeah.
He was communicating. He was opening conversation. And you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's what it fucking takes, man.
So if you don't want to go to your local church, if you're not ready or a place where you want to seek out God, just talk to your neighbor.
Yeah.
That's it. And if you are in a place, go find a church, go find somebody who believes. And even if they just met God yesterday, walk with them, find a way. It's as easy as that. It's a daunting task. Like you said, reading the Old Testament, you're like, what am I doing? I've been in your shoes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
And I'm still learning every single day, and I still know nothing years later.
Yeah.
Nothing, right? So that's my voice here. And if nothing else, hopefully they listen to the last 5 minutes.
Cool, man. Appreciate you having you back on, coming out, and maybe we get it in before another year.
Yeah, for sure.